Welcome everybody to Community Board 4's May 2021 public hearing and regular meeting. We're going to go ahead and get started. It is now 6:04. As you heard me mention a few minutes ago, we do have a very long agenda this evening, but we are so glad to have with us our first agenda item, which is our Assistant Attorney General, Michael Barbosa. He's going to be presenting on the Attorney General's efforts to combat deed theft. Whenever you're ready, please take it away. Mr. Barbosa?
I don't know if he can hear us.
Yeah, there may be some audio issues because I can see him. Yep, he's having some audio. Yeah, let me respond. And we can, for the time being, we can move on to the second item, but let me just respond very quickly. All right. Apologies for the technical difficulties, folks. We are still bearing with it. We do have another agenda item this evening for our public hearing. Our second agenda item, and I believe he's already here as well, Omar Suarez from NYC Votes. He's the Director of Partnerships and Outreach, providing an overview of ranked choice voting. This is coming from the Campaign Finance Board. Let me just make sure. Omar, are you there? I have you here as a, you should be able to control your sound and your video now.
Good evening. Yes, thank you. I'm now able to unmute. Should I get started? I don't know if my video is connected.
Do you need to share any slides or any content?
Yes, I do have slides to present, and I apologize if I'm a little clumsy. You know, the WebEx is not my native tongue, but I'm gonna give it my best shot.
No problem. So yes, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and get started.
I can't see him.
Okay, and folks should be able to see my screen now. I hope so.
Yes.
And thank you very much for having me, and thank you to the members of Brooklyn Community Board 4 and members of the community as well for joining this evening. My name is Omar Suarez. With the New York City Campaign Finance Board. I'm going to explain what that is in just a second, but the topic of my presentation this evening will be ranked choice voting. It should be about a 10 or 15-minute presentation, and I'll also have a video to share. And at the end of the presentation, I'll share out some additional resources and links where you can get more information about this new voting method that's going to be impacting our upcoming New York City elections in June. So moving forward, the entity I represent, the Campaign Finance Board, or CFB, I may say sometimes, we are a city agency, independent and nonpartisan. You know, our principal responsibility is New York City's public matching funds program, where small donors throughout in New York City elections get a match on their donations. But we also have a charter mandate to do voter education, including education on ranked choice voting. So, and that's what we're here to discuss today. As I said, we do cover voter education. So if I'm around, usually it means elections are coming up. And we do have some important elections in 2021 in New York City. Some of the positions that we are voting for at the city level on the left-hand side are the mayor, the public advocate, the comptroller. Those are all citywide. And then the 5 borough presidents we're also electing, and the 51 city council members are also up for election, or at least the seats are up for election. I'll also add, you know, the community boards are appointed by the borough president and city council. I'm sure you all know. Just only to say that even if the community boards are not directly elected, we will be impacting kind of who will be on the community boards with these elections. And just some of the key issues that local government can impact: education, housing, transportation, small businesses and jobs, our economic livelihood, healthcare, and many, many, many more. So just very important to participate in our local elections. I would just want to provide you with some key dates. On June 22nd, we have the citywide primary election. That's where the parties nominate who they're going to have on the ballot for the November election. That's June 22nd with early voting. We do have early voting again this year, and that's going to be from June 12th to June 20th. I will share out the link where you can get your poll site location for early voting and for election day. They are likely not the same location. To vote, you have to be registered to a political party that is holding a primary. So the two big ones are Democrat and Republican. If you're not affiliated, then you cannot vote in the primary. And unfortunately, the deadline has passed to change your affiliation if you're already registered unaffiliated. And then later in the year, November 2nd, we have the general election. And again, there'll be early voting from October 23rd to the 31st. So that's just the landscape of this year's elections. What we came to discuss, though, is ranked choice voting. And I just want to quickly share a very brief video that will just explain a little bit about ranked choice voting. I want to make sure that the audio is also sharing. So please let me know if the audio is playing.
We tend, I don't know if it'll work for you, but WebEx apparently doesn't allow for folks to share videos with audio, or at least we haven't figured out the mechanism yet. So it may not work, just a heads up.
Okay, it's fine. I can share the link to watch the video and I'll just explain it verbally. I have the slides that go over it. The video sometimes is just helpful to have a brief explanation, but I'll go through the process step by step and explain it verbally. So what it is, ranked choice voting, it's a new way for us to elect our representatives. You know, it allows voters to rank up to their top 5 favorite candidates for a given office instead of just having to choose only one. And what this does is it gives voters more of a say in who wins the elections because they now have a second or third option, fourth or fifth, in case their top option for a candidate does not end up winning. It increases civility among the campaigns because they now have more of a reason to appeal to other voters who are not their supporters because they will want to be the second or third choice and so on. And it can lead to more diverse candidates winning. That's something that we've seen in other locations. So just moving ahead, I want to just start off with a little bit of how this got here. Where did ranked choice voting come from? It was established in 2019. There was a ballot question that was put to the voters. This wasn't something that was only implemented from on high. It was put to the voters back in 2019, and almost 3 out of every 4 NYC voters that went out approved of this. So it got 74% of the vote, and you know, that's a pretty high percentage. I think it helps to see on a map, all the green areas are where the majority of people were in favor of ranked choice voting. And you can see North Brooklyn is in the very dark green area where over 85% were in approval. So this got very strong approval throughout the city, but especially in some of the areas, you know, that are covered by this community board. Now, just to how this is going to affect our elections, how this is going to impact New York City. This is only for the city offices. So mayor, public advocate, comptroller, borough president, and city council. Those, you may notice, those are the offices I said earlier. So this is for city offices, local office. This is not for federal or state office. This is not, you're not using this for president, governor, US Senate, Congress, state Senate, state assembly. We're also not using this for district attorney or judges. So if you live somewhere, or someone that you know lives somewhere with a district attorney race or judge race, those are not ranked choice voting elections. Finally, ranked choice voting is something that we're only going to use for special elections. If there's a vacancy, in a city office, or in primary elections where you need to be registered with the party to select the nominee. This is not for the general election in November. So you will not see ranked choice voting on the November ballot. You will see it in June coming up, but not in November. Now I'm just going to cover very briefly how you're going to fill out your ballot. When you see your ballot, it's going to look something like this. You'll have a list of candidates on the left-hand side, and next to that list of candidates will be 5 columns with a bubble in each column next to each candidate's name. So it's like a grid. Now, what you do is whoever your first choice candidate is, the person that's at the top of your list, they're your number one, you go next to their name and you fill in that first column. If you only like one person and you only want to vote for one person, you can stop right there, and that's a valid vote. That it does count as a vote for that person. But if you have a second or third choice, what you would do is you go next to whoever your second choice is and you fill in that second column. You go next to your third choice and you fill in the third column, and so on. So in this example on the left, we have candidate B is this person's first choice. So they're filled in under the first column. Candidate C is their second, so they're filled in under the second, and so on. You get to have up to 5 rankings. 5 rankings is the max. You can have, or you can stick with 1 or anything in between that. Now, I just showed you a ballot that only had 5 people listed, but you can actually have as many candidates as make it on the ballot. For example, this year for mayor, there are going to be 13 candidates on the ballot, which is, it's a lot, but now you're going to have more of an opportunity to use those 5 rankings because there are so many candidates. And you will also have the chance to use a write-in candidate if you would like. So similar to the traditional way of voting, you would just fill in that candidate's name. And with ranked choice voting, you would just fill in the bubble for them for whatever ranking they are. If they are your first choice, then you would fill in the first column. If they're your second choice, you would fill in the second column, and so on. And then finally, this is an example ballot from this earlier special election. Again, you have the list of candidates. The order is determined by lottery. It is not alphabetical. And next to the list of candidates, you have the 5 columns. So on the ballot in June, it's going to have several of these sections for each office. So you'll have one for mayor, you'll have one section like this for comptroller, one section for borough president, and so on. So the ballot's going to have several of these type of grids on it that you're going to fill out. There's a couple of things that I want people to be aware of, to watch out for. Do not overvote. Do not give multiple candidates the same rank. This will invalidate your ballot if you leave it like this. You cannot have multiple number 1 options. You cannot have multiple number 2 choices. You cannot have multiple number 3 choices. If you vote like this in person, the ballot will reject it, but you will have a chance to correct it. If you send your ballot in the mail this way, you won't have a way to cure it. The Board of Elections will see this. It will be rejected by the scanner, and once they take it out of the privacy sleeve, they don't know whose ballot that is. So you won't have an opportunity to correct it. The second thing I want people to watch out for is duplicate ranking. Even if you really like a candidate, there's no need to rank them first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. This does count as a vote. It's just the same as voting for that person once and just having them be your number 1 choice. It does not make your vote any stronger. It does not give any extra benefit to that person. What you are doing is you're wasting your opportunity to have a second or third or fourth choice. And just to end out, the counting of how the winner is decided, how the counting process will work. We'll just cover that briefly. The Board of Elections will count all the votes, so they have to count up election day votes, they have to count up the early voting in person, and they have to count up the mail votes. And once all the votes are counted, If one of the candidates reaches a majority, meaning over 50%, 50% plus one vote, then they are the winner. So this example has candidate B with 54%. They will be declared the winner right there in the first round, and there's no there's no counting of the second choices or third. It just would end right there. However, this only happens around half the time. We did have this situation happen in the first special election with ranked choice voting earlier this year. But in the other cases, it looks more like this, where no one has a majority. In this case, candidate B does have the most votes, but they only have 39%. So what would happen is we now count in rounds. We go round by round, and every round, what happens is the candidate with the fewest votes is eliminated. So here, candidate D has the fewest votes. They only have 12%. So as we move to the second round, they get eliminated. And what happened? And I'm going to explain what happens to all of those votes in just a second. Here, you can see on the left-hand side, you can see someone filled out a ballot with candidate D as their first choice, and they had candidate C as their second choice. What would happen is now they get to their vote moves to their second choice, to their next highest choice, which is candidate C. And that happens to everybody that voted for candidate D. So all those votes are redistributed. And now candidate D's votes have been redistributed to the other candidates. Everyone's vote total just went up. So candidate A went from 27 to 31. Candidate B went from 39 to 45. And candidate C went from 22 to 24. You can see that it's not an even split. It's based on whoever had the most second choices for the candidate that was eliminated. So this will continue until you get to your final two. So in New York, even if somebody gets a majority earlier, you always continue until you get to the last two candidates. So same thing would happen with candidate C now, where they're the lowest, and so they get eliminated, and all of the people that are voting for them, their votes move to their next highest choice. So this person had the candidate C as their second choice, and now they're on candidate B, their third choice. Some people maybe had candidate A, so both of them do move up a bit. When you get down to the final two, someone has a majority. This time, candidate B did win, and they have 58% of the final vote. Now, it doesn't always happen where the person who had the most first choice ends up with the majority at the end. There are come from behind victories in ranked choice voting as well. It's all about who has the most broad support, who gets the most second choices or even third choices, and so on. So having that broad support and being included on the most ballots is actually what's helpful, more so than just having that strong first choice. That does change the dynamic a little bit. Finally, one thing to be, this is a new term that's being used. It's called exhausted ballot. A ballot is exhausted when all the candidates that a voter ranked have lost, even though there are still some candidates left in the running. So let's say in the example I just gave, candidate D was the first candidate that was eliminated because they had the lowest. If you only voted for candidate D and no one else, you have nowhere for your vote to go after that. So you would just have candidate D, and then once they're eliminated, your vote has nowhere to go. So your vote does count. It did count. It was counted, but you just didn't pick the winner, and the only candidate that you did pick lost. Finally, just want to leave you with some reminders before we wrap up. You can rank up to 5 candidates, but you do not need to use all of the 5. If you prefer, you can still vote for just your first choice candidate. But just be aware, ranking those other candidates does not hurt your first choice. It does not harm your first choice to have a second or third. If you rank 5 candidates, you don't have 5 votes. You always only have 1 vote. It just moves. If your candidate is eliminated, then it moves to whoever your second choice is. Making multiple candidates ensures your vote will go towards your second, third, fourth, or fifth choice. If your top choice is eliminated, this is what gives you more of a say in who ends up winning. That second choice or third and so on, those are backup options. I like to say that your first choice is the person that you really, really like, you love for that position. Your second or third is someone that you like. Maybe they're not your favorite, but you still kind of like them. And then fourth or fifth is who can you live with if it comes down to it? If it comes down to this person versus someone that you really do not want to see, who can you live with? So you can include them. And the last thing, election results timing. I think this is very important for people to know. The results, in all likelihood, we will not know on election night for many races who the winner is, who the final winner is, especially if there's no majority in that race. So the reason for this is because the Board of Elections does have to accept absentee ballots sometimes that arrive after Election Day. It's very common. People can put their ballot in the mail on Election Day, and it can take some time to arrive, and the Board of Elections must count those. And they have to count every single vote before they can actually do the tabulation process. They have to see what the final result of the first choices is before they can do the tabulation. The tabulation isn't what takes that long. It's making sure that every single vote is counted. And that's the most important part, making sure that everybody's vote is counted. I'm going to leave you with some links, and I will share these in the chat, and we'll also send them to our host and the community board to share out via email if possible. Included here is the general voting, is our website, voting.nyc. There you can get anything that's due. You can find out your poll site. You can get all the election dates, including early voting hours. You can get the absentee ballot application if you need it. You can get information about registering to vote. Anything that has to do with voting, voting.nyc. I'm just keep repeating that. Anything that you need to know about this upcoming election or voting in general, voting.nyc has it. We'll also have our voter guide up there that has information about all the candidates. But in addition to that, we have additional resources on ranked choice voting, educational resources. We have our training schedule, and we have the video that I was going to show, but we had some technical difficulties. That video is available in English, Spanish, Chinese, Bengali, and Korean. And finally, you can find us on social media at NYC Votes. The Board of Elections is another site, another location that you can go to for additional information, and I'll include their information as well. And finally, I just want to say thank you for having me. And I'm here to answer any questions that you may have about ranked choice voting. And I'll also share out some of the links that I just mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you, Omar. And before we get started with questions, board members, I just want to make sure that I have everyone that's called in. So I believe this first number, 718919, this is Carlotta. Is that you?
Yes, that's
Carlotta?
me. Yes,
Okay, you're unmuted. Yep, you're unmuted now. You control your sound.
Okay.
I also have 718453. I believe that might be Martha. Martha, is that you?
No, that's Mr. Fowler.
Mr. Fowler. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Fowler. My apologies. Okay. And I have anonymous. I believe this might be Reverend Grace Ates. Reverend Ates, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, you're unmuted now. And then I also have a 347581 number. If you can just let us know who you are.
That's Alvina.
Got you. Okay. And then last I have 917701. 917701. Are you there? Okay.
Paragraph 8.
Yes, I got you, Reverend Ates. Thank you. And then I'm going to see Eliseo. You should be able to speak now.
I hear you. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So you're unmuted. All right, thank you everyone for your patience. And it looks like we just had one more person, 646-643.
That's Gladys.
Got you, Gladys. All right. Just make sure if you're not speaking to please mute, so that way we can move forward with meeting. Now, questions regarding the ranked choice voting presentation. Board members, any questions?
Am I muted?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Barbara.
Can you hear me, Celeste?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so it's important that, it's important that the voters know that they should pick more than one person, more than one candidate, and not just one. Hello?
And thank you for emphasizing that. You know, I mean, it is important if you want to take advantage of this new system that is meant to empower the voters, is meant for you to use those five rankings. You know, other locations such as I think San Francisco, Oakland, Minneapolis. Those are some of the larger cities that use it. Other locations only give you 3. New York City gives you up to 5. As I mentioned earlier, you know, we have 13 candidates running for mayor, just as one office. So I'm pretty sure if you like do a little research and you can find 5 that you can rank in order. You know, you don't have to rank all 13, but you have up to those 5 options.
Well,
So you can have a backup option.
right, we inform our seniors that they have to vote for more than one candidate. And this is going to be a little difficult for some seniors because it's a lot, coloring the bubbles and stuff. And I can see them getting annoyed and frustrated with this.
I would say, so just to be clear, it's not forcing you. You don't have to. If you really only like one person, you can just stick with the one person. If you don't like anybody else, you don't have to. But it does help make sure that when it comes down to it, in case that one person that you pick, maybe they end up losing in the first round or second round, you want to have a backup option. So I think that is important to emphasize that.
Any other questions?
Okay,
Yes.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Sanisha again. My question is, how successful has this been in other states? Because it seems very complicated, and I'm not sure that there's a great benefit to this change. That's going to be difficult for a lot of people to do.
Well, you know, my response is ranking 1 through 5. And then you fill in the bubble based on if they're 1, 2, 3, or 5, 3 or 4 or 5. In other places, some of the cities I just mentioned, it's very common for, you know, upwards of 90% of people to use at least 2 options. Now it's still new here, and so in the polling that we have seen from the first special elections, it's around maybe 2 out of 3 people end up choosing multiple rankings. But most people, like over 90% from the first special elections that we've seen, the vast majority of people, it was understandable to them. It was clear to them. If they didn't rank somebody, it's because they only liked one person, which is, you know, that's understandable. If there's only one person that you like, then pick that one person. But the percentage of people that they didn't understand the concept was very low. And we're continuing our education campaign. So it depends. I'm not sure how you would want to define success, but I think if we have 95% or more of people that are comfortable with the system, or at least are clear on how to use it, and over 90% are ranking multiple people, I think that's something that we can consider a success for our first ranked choice voting election.
Hey Omar, this is Louisa. I'm sorry I joined late, but my question is on so if you vote, you only picked one person and that person gets eliminated, does that mean then your vote when it comes to the actual election, that means that you don't have a vote anymore because your candidate got eliminated?
It just means that your vote, the person that you voted for, lost.
Okay.
It's we used to have something that's called runoff elections. We used to do runoff elections for city elections, and it's that this compresses that process. So it's like you have the runoff all in one single process. Instead of having to come back, several weeks later and vote in a new election, it's an instant runoff based on your second or third choice. So, if you didn't have a second choice, or the candidate or candidates that you picked lost, it's as if you just voted and that person didn't make it to the next round. I'm sorry for the background noise.
Any other questions? I don't see anything in the chat. Just a reminder to the public, feel free to add messages to the chat and we will ask the question.
Celeste, I don't have a question. I just want to know, tell the gentleman, we thank you. We understand, but my thing is, why now? Why couldn't you wait? We have something that's very important now. Positions that are crucial to this community, especially with what's going on around the world. So what you're doing is taking away our seniors and our people that are disenfranchised. You're taking away their power by the new people that came in, by dictating and showing them, which they already know that they came from West Bubblefield, where it was, and they moved here. So now we're learning a new stuff, and you're not educating it. Instead of giving a trial basis for a while and doing something big like this, we might get someone that we really don't. And you guys are the ones responsible for it. And then when you put it on the city charter to vote, you didn't make a big deal about it, just like they did with the president. Nobody knows turn around in the back and check and mark if you want it or you don't want it. And that's the thing I hear from a lot of seniors and a lot of old timers that are here. They're not turning around the back. You guys educating now, too late. There should be a protest, there should be a fight to stop this process and wait until the following year so you can educate us, everyone. Remember, it's a pandemic. We can't go to the senior buildings and teach our seniors. Seniors been locked in. You can't go in there and I can't see my grandfather teach them how to vote. I can't show my father that's illiterate, that don't know how to read and write, but knows how to check something off and do. That's the problem. And that's why we, Latinos and Black, lose out, because of the Board of Elections agenda is totally different. And it shouldn't be that way. It's really absurd. And we really need to sit down, whoever it is, it shouldn't be done this way now. Not at something so important when we just had, people just died. And you're bringing something here, learn this. You think I'm gonna be learning? I won't even go to vote, they'll say. Okay? Some of the people I hear say they're not even voting. So what? We lose out. Why? We someone that don't have, quote unquote, interest in the community, that we're being disenfranchised, that we're being pushed out of this community, that there's no affordability, and the new people coming in and taking over and just pushing us over. That's what your election is doing. It works in some places, but it doesn't work here. And education is the key. And in order to educate our community, it has to be not once, not twice, has to be several times. And it's sad because I hear all my seniors and everybody that calls me and speaks to me, I don't know how to do that. I'm not going to go vote. So you took that person away. The Board of Elections did that to our people. So when someone's in there that we don't feel that's going to represent us, it's you guys' fault. So we really need to echo, and everybody that's on this panel, all these elected officials need to turn around and do something. Something needs to be done before it's too late. It's a done deal. We're going to suffer more than ever. So we really need to work on that, and we really need to find out. Oh, I know you're just an employee coming in here and telling us, but we're telling you how we feel, so you can go back and tell your thing that
I understand.
not happy.
I understand.
It's
One,
just
I got to
not happening.
clarify a couple of things. I don't work for the Board of Elections. The Board of
I know,
Elections
but I'm saying,
runs,
Bushwick
but
is
I
not
know you see us as tied
I
together,
got a
okay?
103-year-old lady that don't know how to take a checkerboard box, but know how to put your ballot or put your finger in. So that's what I'm saying. You got people that been in Bushwick a long time. So that other person that's going to choose someone that doesn't represent, that's what you're taking away from. When ranked choice do that, that's what happens. Because we have a
Mr.
problem with what we have.
Mr. Camacho, if I may respectfully, and I apologize for cutting you off, I just want to remind everyone that we are pressed for time. I
sorry.
know that you are speaking
Sorry.
passionately on behalf of our seniors. If I may suggest, the board may want to recommend that we formalize this information that we're sharing right now, right? Formalize these concerns in a letter. However, ranked choice voting is here, and this presentation was really just to make sure we know what's going to be happening next month when people go. So thank you, Mr. Camacho, and thank you, Omar. Final questions. This is the last call.
I just want a general statement. Given that range voting here, I think that just adding to what Mike said, our focus should just be education, because since it's here, we should push for as many workshops, flyers, and handouts, just so we could get the information out. We aren't pointing hands at Omar. We just want to be sure our people don't get in the booth and are totally confused. So I just encourage that any upcoming workshops, events, can we just strongly push out to the Bushwick community?
Yeah, but as you know, Josh,
But I'm not cutting you off, Robert, but there's been workshops, there's been a lot of workshops. Now, I don't know how many seniors have computers now, but I said way back in March that the elected officials should have been coming out and letting their constituents know what was going on. It was also part of their responsibility, not just the Board of Elections, okay? I've been to many workshops with this ranked choice voting, and you guys know that I am a senior. So most of my seniors at round table know about this ranked choice voting. But again, the elected officials should have been having these workshops.
Yeah.
That's all
And
I
also,
have.
this is Guy. I just want to add to that. I hear what the chairman said, what Robert, what you said, and Josh. I agree that it's here to stay, and we just have to educate people. I also want us to understand too that with the community, this was put to a vote. So there was something where the community voted for ranked choice voting to be implemented. So people voted. So while we may have different opinions, there could be other people in the community who supported this and want this. So again, that's how the process is. It was put before a ballot and people voted on it. So, and I hear all the concerns, but we also have to be mindful that, as a community, we have different opinions. So there may be some people who supported it, while there were others who did not. But I think from what I saw in the presentation, a majority of the voters voted in favor of this. That's why we have it today. So now we just have to move on and try to encourage more education for our people, so people understand how to go and take advantage of the process. And so that's my take on it.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. And I, alongside county committee members, every Saturday will be going, and we started 3 weeks ago. Every Saturday we'll be in different parts of Bushwick, going through parks and different places. So handouts, printed material, choice voting. And this Saturday we're going to be at Cooper Park and also at Maria Hernandez Park. So if anyone is interested of coming out in the streets to educate people about ranked choice voting, they can contact me. And if they want to work in the election and learn about ranked choice voting at the actual poll sites, they can actually also contact me as soon as possible if they want to take opportunity of working on the polls. Thank you, Celeste, for putting this presentation together.
Thank you, Sammy. And just one question from the chat. I have here, will the Board of Elections publish the ranking votes for all the candidates in each round? So I don't know if you're able to answer that, Omar, but if you're not, then we can certainly follow up and get that information.
I will answer the question to the best of my knowledge, and then I'll just say a couple, or just a word or two in response. The Board of Elections will publish on election night the results of the early voting, in person, and the election day vote. So that's what you're going to see on election night. But the reason that they're not going to be the first choices from early vote and election day, you're going to get that on election night. And then it's going to take some time. You know, I would say, let's give possibly 2 weeks, let's say 2 to 3 weeks to get, and again, this is about making sure that everybody's vote is counted. I'm talking about people that vote by mail. You brought up seniors. A lot of them are seniors that vote by mail. You want to make sure that those votes are counted before we declare somebody a winner. And once that's done, they will publish the full results, including a chart with the tabulation, with the round by round tabulation of who was eliminated in which round and where those votes went. And then, just to look, I'm with you, man. Like I'm born and raised New York City resident. I'm from the Bronx. I'm up here, Queens and the Bronx, my whole life, and so I understand exactly how you feel. And I see what's going on, and I understand. I think it is up to, look, if I could do this presentation, not 24/7 from now till election day, I would very happily would. And my email is in the chat. I welcome, invitations to do similar type presentations. I think we do have to focus on the education. You may have gotten something in the mail from us. I just got mine, a postcard that explains it. On this coming Tuesday, I'm doing an event that's going to include Spanish as well. So I'll be sure to share that event out, and we're going to be doing other Spanish language events moving forward, and in other languages as well. Is the best that we can. There was litigation, and I'm not. My goal and my job is present the information. It's not administration, and it's not policy, and it's not passing the policy. It's here's the information. Here's how it works. Ranked choice voting is the policy. Here's how it works. I do have faith. People think that in other cities it's only white people that are voting, and that's not the case. This has been passed in other cities that have very large Black and Hispanic populations. Of course, there's no place like New York City. I understand that very well, but it's not to say that we can't understand it or that we can't select our top 5. If you send me, or if I send somebody to the grocery store or something, somebody sends me to the grocery store, and I say, what kind of cereal you want? If they don't have that, what do you want? If they don't have that, what do you want? That's, you have to make it make sense for people. It's a literal top 5. Is it a little bit more tedious? Yes. Are we asking a little bit more of the voters? Yes. But I think in the end, it's not to strip away from residents to then give to others. This actually can have benefits in many other ways, actually for Black and brown communities, because now you don't have to worry about splitting the vote, because now, there's a history of this happening where there'll be, multiple candidates appealing to this voting block, and then the vote is split. But now, because you can rank, there's less of a chance of that happening, and it's going to reflect the actual will of the people. And so, I really do ask that folks, work with us on getting this education out and getting this information out. I'm going to follow up in an email with the slides and with additional links. We're adding that training link. We're adding new trainings and dates and times to it all the time. So, I ask that folks keep that plugged in so that they can send people. And, my email is there. If anybody, there's any additional questions, my email is in the chat, and I'm happy to speak about them.
I thank you, and it wasn't anything personal for you, but what I'm only saying is that COVID just happened, and we're learning something. People are busy dying, and we're worrying about ranked choice voting, right? So let's be realistic. So that's my point across. There is an election, you're right, and so did 18 months, 14 months, people were dying of COVID. They wasn't talking about an election. So that's my point. Education starts all the time, not some of the time. So we really need to, that's the only thing I was saying in regards to educating our seniors and making sure that people have the right. So thank you. So that's all right.
Yep. Thank you. That's all the time. I'm so sorry. That's all the time we have for this particular agenda item. Please, please, please let me know if you have any questions. If we did not get to your question in the chat, we will absolutely follow up. You can reach me at the board's office. That goes for board members as well. Omar, thank you. Also, thank you to Ars Khan from the controller's office for connecting us. We really appreciate it. And we will certainly keep getting this information out there.
Have a good evening, everyone.
You too. Moving us along, I believe the technical issues were resolved. Daryl and Assistant AG Barbosa, are you good to go?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, perfect. All right, well, again, my name is Michael Barbosa. I'm gonna share my screen as well. Let's do that. All right, so my name is Michael Barbosa. I'm the Assistant Attorney General in charge at the Brooklyn Regional Office. I'm here representing our wonderful Attorney General, Letitia James, who has always been the people's lawyer, but she has been officially the people's lawyer for the entire state of New York. She's our chief guardian. As the attorney in charge of the Brooklyn Regional Office, we're one of 13 throughout the state, and we cover both Brooklyn and Queens counties. We focus, our cases focus on all affirmative litigation, civil cases, civil rights, defending labor laws, the environment, investors, just a slew of civil issues. And our investigations focus on any type of violations of state law. We also defend the state in litigation. We enforce regulations. We recoup state funds. We propose legislation, all of those other types of things. Just quickly, because there's always a difference or confusion, I'd say, between what the powers of the New York State Attorney General's office is and, for instance, what the district attorney's office is. Our authority comes from New York Executive Law 60-12. So we investigate and prosecute repeated fraud or illegal acts in the carrying on and conducting of business. Most of our cases involved filing what's called pre-subpoena filing power, where we can collect documents and testimony under oath when we see that there's a pattern or practice of illegal fraud or illegality. And we also file lawsuits. We have limited criminal authority under the penal law, but we also partner very closely with the district attorney's office, with District Attorney Gonzalez, who has the broad authority. So we partner with many of the different cases that you probably all know about. And some of our typical criminal prosecutions involve like complex financial crimes, tax, mortgage fraud, insurance fraud. And I'm here to talk a little bit more about deed theft. Most of our settlements involve assurances of discontinuance, which is basically a contract or a court-ordered settlement. Our focus is always to provide restitution on behalf of New Yorkers and incur penalties for different violations and criminal convictions if it warrants. So just quickly, just to remind, there's so much information on our website. Our website is www.ag.ny.gov. Our outreach involves what we call smart senior presentations or scam prevention presentations that protect the elderly. We also do internet safety, and we're doing many more specific deed fraud presentations. And of course, we publicize our enforcement, litigation, and settlements so people can understand whether or not they qualify for restitution, because sometimes they might not know. Due to the pandemic, for the past year plus, we've been having virtual appointments, and we call it our Protecting Our Community virtual appointments. Before the pandemic, you could walk into our office 9 to 5, but you can also have virtual one-on-one video appointments or phone appointments. And many of the different cases that we've been focusing on this past year have, of course, been all COVID-related scams targeting the elderly, identity theft, stimulus check scams, immigration fraud, and of course, housing and employment rights, dealing with the tenant moratorium and the foreclosure moratorium and the tax lien moratorium. Okay, so just talking about deed theft, you know, everyone, it's a widespread scheme to obtain title to real property through deceptive or fraudulent means against vulnerable homeowners. In Brooklyn, especially in light of just gentrification in general, it's very prevalent. People have been tricked into signing title of their home. There's been outright forgery. There's been superimposition of signatures with certain documents and short sale agreements, which is basically a scam where they say, you know, we'll help you, but you have to sign over your property and, you know, your credit will get better, all different types of schemes. And it's just important for us to try to remind the community to try to protect yourselves. There was a report in 2018 about deed theft. And if you look at this map, close to 50% of the 3,000 complaints that we received involved neighborhoods, vulnerable neighborhoods, Black and Latino neighborhoods in Brooklyn. Scam it, because it's public information, court records, foreclosure filings, public auctions or obituaries. These are different ways that scam artists look at these records to try to target vulnerable homeowners. You know, if there's a tax lien, if there's water bills and certain judgments, certain abandoned buildings, all those types of issues. So it's really important for our office to just hear from the community about anything that they hear. Oh, well, all of a sudden, you know, this building was vacant and now there are tenants in it and there's different construction. And common deed fraud, theft scams involve, like I said, short sale scams, loan modifications, refinancing. I mean, all of these terms are just like really hard for people to understand. It's like legal mumbo jumbo, right? But there are different agencies and there's more funding to try to help the community and help homeowners and family members understand what these terms mean. And I think you mentioned that. Can we hear this video or no?
I don't believe so. Yeah, for whatever
Okay.
reason, we don't have the audio capability for video.
Okay, well, I'll just say this is a video that the Center for New York City Neighborhoods has where it talks about the most common scam, which is mortgage modifications. Owners get behind, and you know, when things like this happen, they call their bank, try to lower the mortgage. There's different types of qualifications if you qualify, and people get desperate. They ask people in the neighborhood, and you know, there's just affinity scams where people say, okay, well, I could help you. And one of the things that I always say in these scam presentations is, if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. You know, they're selling you a you know, just a dream. So definitely, you know, we always encourage homeowners and relatives to just make sure you understand what you sign, get copies of the different documents. And another problem with mortgage issues and foreclosures is foreclosures take years. So the scam artist can be saying, oh, okay, this has been resolved, but you know, you won't receive notices of foreclosure, you won't appear in court, there may be a default judgment against you. So it's just really important to try to really understand and try to get free legal services. So I'm just gonna skip that to talk about our Protect Our Homes initiative. We launched it before the pandemic, where we identify different neighborhoods to try to collect more complaints, let people know what their rights are. We recently issued another $800,000 grant to our partner agencies, HPD and the Center for New York City Neighborhoods, where they've launched a help desk, and they're doing a number of different outreach events, which provides legal counseling, financial counseling, legal services, scam prevention and referrals, because our goal is really try to see the different patterns. Because many times when it comes to our office, because we're, our Attorney General is wonderful and people trust our Attorney General, but we're still a prosecutor. So many times, the first people that find out about these scams are, your organizations, community boards, nonprofits, and so we partner with these groups to try to get that information and continue our confidential investigations. So just really quickly, other types of outreach presentations we talk about is the Smart Seniors. There's a statistic that we only receive 1 in 25 complaints. That means 24 complaints we don't even hear about. And so these outreach events that we have is really important for us to try to get that information, even if it's anonymous. Sometimes if it's anonymous, or you send different documents, or other types of tips, or if you send out a complaint, our office is going to read it and review it. And sometimes these investigations take years. We have, there's a statute of limitation rule where you have a certain amount of time to be able to file a lawsuit. And because we're law enforcement, sometimes we can look back from 6 years ago, especially with a continuing fraud. So, some of the regular scams that are always successful are these sweepstakes accounts, and you put checks to try to cash it, and they take money out of your account. The grandparent scams where family members are injured and they need help really quickly, and money needs to be wired. So here are some websites to try to protect yourself with do not call list registries. We have electronic copies, and of course we have copies that we can mail to different offices. So I'm just going to skip this because I know time, and I want to provide information for questions, but there's also ways that you can protect yourself from identity theft and obtaining free credit reports. So one of the things that's really important I wanted to talk about with identity theft is if you've been, like for instance, we've received so many different complaints, unemployment scams, and their names are listed as, receiving unemployment, and you haven't even applied for unemployment. The Department of Labor is also investigating scams, and one thing that's really important is to try to protect your identity and do fraud monitoring. And what you can do is, if you are a victim, file a police report and also file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission, and that creates an identity theft report. So the number to the FTC is here, ftc.gov. I'm also going to put some of this information in the chat, and all this information is on our website. And then, of course, with charitable giving, I mean, in light of the pandemic and everything, people, especially people in Brooklyn, even if we don't have much, give to, and it's important for you to know your charity. We have this website, www.charitiesnys.com, where you look at every charity has to be registered with the New York State Office of the Attorney General. And if they're not here, that's a red flag. It's also information about their fundraising and certain reports, which you can, read and understand because it's public information. So again, our website is www.ag.ny.gov, and our 1-800 hotline is 1-800-771-7755. So I'll stop right there, and thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Questions, board members? All right. Any questions from the public? Please add them to the chat. All right. Well,
And we love Letitia James.
oh, someone has requested the video link.
I got
Okay.
one.
Go ahead, Gladys.
All right. So the other day they sent me a letter saying that I was applying for another Social Security because they didn't give me no reason, and then they called me saying that my Social Security was canceled. But when I called in to the Social Security Department, which I had that number there, they say that did I apply, and they said I didn't apply nothing to get no Social Security, but why that letter
Yes,
came
Louise.
to my house saying that?
Yes,
But they didn't have
that's
no answer for me.
yes, that sounds like one of the scams that is prevalent. I receive, robocalls, that say, okay, your Social Security has been canceled. Please, call us. And those are, if it sounds too much, I mean, the IRS is not going to call you and say that, you're going to get arrested. And that also sounds like something that, you double checked. And the most important thing that we tell community members is not to give any type of personal information if you happen to speak to individuals that contact you in this way, or if you respond to a notice that doesn't really appear to be legitimate. So you did exactly the things that you were supposed to do. And I also try to put the link in the chat for the video.
Okay.
I have a
Final
question.
poll? Go ahead,
Yeah.
Josh.
Yes, Michael, what is the very first step they should take if they suspect they've been a victim of deed fraud? What's the very first action they should take?
Okay, so of course, the very first step is to try to look at the public records, the Office of the City Registry. There's public information there, and there's a way to register and have phone calls and emails sent to you directly if there's any change in your property. It's called ACRIS.
Sure.
And so if you see that, there's also a fraud department within the sheriff's office in the Office of the City Registry, and you can file a complaint there, and you also file a complaint with our office and also the police department. So any type of, just use the same complaint and send it everywhere. So because there's different agencies that look at the various different frauds to see if it's a civil fraud, to see if it's a dispute between quote unquote family members, where sometimes they say, oh, it's a civil matter, you have to go to civil court. But another thing is we have our HOP program. So it's the reason why we've obtained different judgments because of different frauds, but we're turning that money back to legal services so that they can represent individuals, because we don't do individual representation, we do pattern of practice cases against businesses.
So clarity, someone is a victim of deed fraud, they should call a county sheriff immediately.
Yes, there's a complaint form on the website. Welcome.
Excellent. And we have another question in the chat. Bear with me one moment. Is the New York Attorney General able to sue gun manufacturers for all the illegal guns in our streets?
Thank you for that question. But yes, well, let me just say that there's a number of initiatives that our office and investigations that our office has done in the past, and that we continue to do to try to get illegal guns off of outside of our community. We're actually going to do a gun buyback initiative this upcoming Saturday, at Howard houses. And there's been lawsuits against manufacturers by our office as well. So, but I mean, it's like throwing water in a bucket because there's so many different cases, but we continue to work and do the best that we can. And what can also help us is any type of complaints or anonymous tips that you have that you can send to us.
All right. I don't see any other questions in the chat. Go ahead.
Oh, hey, thank you. This is Louisa. Sorry, I had my hand raised. I guess maybe I didn't do it right. But thank you very much for your presentation and for this information, Attorney Barbosa. I was just curious about whether the Attorney General will start, does she have the power to initiate or recommend, some sort of clearinghouse for identity theft victims? I'm just speaking from personal experience. I had an issue last year. I was a victim of the unemployment fraud. And I had to go through so many hoops to get somebody to pay attention to my case. I had to reach out to my congressional representative, reach out to my state senator. And it was like, as somebody who is, you know, like technology savvy, you know, can work the phones and call people and stuff. I mean, it was unbelievable the type of work and hours and hours and hours of effort that it took for me to try to get that resolved. And I'm just thinking about senior citizens in our community who might be a victim of it and who don't have the time or the know-how to be able to go to all these places. Like we have to do something about this, especially last year. I had 2 identity theft issues pop up within 6 months of each other. And so I'm just hoping that there any sort of legislation or solution that the Attorney General can propose, or work with the governor's office to initiate, because this is something that is just really, really difficult to get get control over once your information is out there. And I check my credit card, you know, reports and credit reports as well, but you know, for some of us who may not be so savvy with that, we're still victims of it. So I don't know what to do anymore is the bottom line, I think. And I'm just hoping that this is an issue that she will look into in terms of finding a solution, and making it harder for these thieves and crooks to be able to like make claims and for unemployment money, especially during that pandemic when, you know, so many people were suffering. And, you know, that was when this kind of stuff came out of the woodworks and people just did whatever, any type of scam, they were on it.
No, I mean, Ms. Chen, you say, I mean, it's a huge problem. It's not only just a New York State problem or United States, it's a global problem. So we're using as many resources, you know, in terms of our investigative, litigation, enforcement, and also outreach, you know, to try to protect people once they are a victim of identity theft. But also to even, you know, because sometimes people just don't even file a complaint, you know, with our office. You know, I know you're not going to do anything for me right now, but we have a database. We have, you know, there needs to be a collection of, you know, to try to track, you know, the different trends that happen. And we partner with the Federal Trade Commission. We partner with district attorneys' offices. So any type of information and evidence collection we can have can help, you know, just try to help in more ways than one. But outreach is the biggest, you know, to try to, you know, give you different tips and different scams and other types of trends that people fall victim to, which we found to be effective when certain people are confronted with by the scam artists. But we'll continue to fight and continue to, you know, present, you know, different or support different legislation, you know, throughout the state.
So are you saying that I should have, as an identity theft victim, file a report with the Attorney General's office as well? Because I didn't know that. I did the FTC, I did all of these other agencies. I filed a police report and the police didn't even do anything about it. And I don't think I ever got the police report. So
Yes, I'm saying you should also file a complaint with our office. Like that figure I talked about, 1 in 25. And there's just confusion. It's like, oh, well, you know, they're not going to do anything anyway, so I'm just not going to file a report. Or let me just focus on the most, you know, the thing that I need to do now with like monitoring my credit, or, you know, maybe calling the police department, but not filing a report. So that's the real reason why I can't stress enough. Written complaints are important, and online on our website, www.ag.ny.gov, you know, you can just do it really quickly, and there you go.
all right, thank you.
Thank
And I
you.
see Andrew Choi has his hand raised. Andrew?
Yeah, actually, Luisa more or less covered my concern. It just has to do more with, like, you know, education and outreach, especially for seniors and people who aren't tech savvy. But thank you for your time, Michael.
Thank you. And again, our community outreach liaison, Daryl White, is on, and we schedule specific Smart Senior detailed presentations, either hopefully it'll be in person now that things are opening up soon. We don't have any authorization to do that yet, but we're still doing numerous virtual presentations at this time.
Thank you very much. That concludes this public hearing item. As I mentioned before, if we did not get to your question, board members or anyone from the public, we are happy to follow up outside of this meeting. Thank you to the AG's office. We really appreciate you joining us this evening.
Thank you so much.
All right, so that will move us along now. That closes our public hearing portion out. We will move into the regular meeting agenda. Board members, please be ready. And I will reiterate, we do have a dense agenda this evening, so please keep your comments to the extent that's possible, short and sweet. We're going to begin with the first roll call. Please be ready to unmute and then mute yourself again. I have Reverend Ates.
Present.
Selena Bennett. Joshua Brown. Is excused. Raul Brown. Robert Camacho.
Present.
Gardier Caphart.
Present.
Melissa Carrera.
Present.
Got you. Felix Ceballos.
Present.
Louisa Chan.
Present.
Andrew Choi.
Present.
Daniela Davi.
Present.
Alvina Davis.
So I don't have my picture shown for the camera.
Please mute if you're not speaking. Freddie Fowler.
Yeah.
Ms. Fitzgerald is excused. Igari Gomez. And Guiney.
Present.
Reverend Migdalia Gutierrez. Jose Guzman. Anisha Honeygan.
Present.
Barbara Jackson.
Present.
Kristen Jock.
Present.
Cheryl Jones.
Present.
Virgie Jones.
Present.
Luisa Jose.
Present.
Mary McClellan. Oh, hold on one second. I know Mary's here. I saw her phone number. Mary, I have you.
Okay,
Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure so you can say that you're here. All
Yes,
right.
I'm here.
Excellent. And then Desmond Monroe.
Present.
Amy Namir Olivares. Zuma Navoa. Isaiah Polite. Gladys Pulia.
Present.
Raul Rubio. Eliseo Ruiz. Julio Salinas.
Present.
Got you. Bernadina Shell.
Present.
Barbara Smith.
Yeah.
Got you, Barbara. Dustin Tomborn.
Present.
Annette Spellin.
Here.
Mary Valentine.
Present.
Carlotta Williams.
Present.
Hold off right. All right. Let me just make sure no one got bumped off.
Celeste Gary Gomez has his hand up. He's on there.
I'm looking at I can't look at both lists at the same time. So I'm making him a panelist. Thank you. All right.
Celeste, this is Raul. I wasn't able to unmute, but I'm also here.
Okay, got you. And I have Joanna here. So just, I'm going down the list. Just bear with me one moment. All right. Okay, so let me just update the list to reflect who I put back in. And if you were unable to unmute earlier, please just let me know so that way our quorum will reflect who's here. All right, counting now. 33 board members present. That constitutes a quorum. Thank you, everyone. Moving on now to our second agenda item, we have acceptance of the agenda. Is there a motion from the board?
I make a motion that we accept the agenda.
Jackson, is there a second?
Hi, Melissa Carrera, second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? So moved. Moving on now, acceptance of the previous meeting minutes. Is there a motion from the board?
This is Raul Rubio. I move to accept the meeting minutes.
Is there a
I second Robert Camacho.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Camacho. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Thank you. All right. So now moving on to our elections. Let me just double check the list to make sure we have all of our board members here. I know I received a few messages in the chat as well. I apologize if anyone's having continued issues with sound. Raul, I have you. You're marked present. All right. So everyone should have received guidance prior to this meeting. I will now let Ms. McClellan say a few words if you still would like to say a few words about the elections, Ms. McClellan, and the importance of the executive board officers. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So go for it, whenever you'd like to start.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mary McClellan, and I am the chairperson of the nomination committee. Now, we have elected new members today. Now, I want to just stress the importance of the acceptance of these roles is that we have to be able to be available to come to meetings and voice your opinion because you are one of our leaders. And we cannot have leaders that do not attend and we cannot count on them. That's the importance of being a leader. And that's why you were chosen tonight to be a leader, because we look up to you. I look up to my leaders, okay? And this is very important. And it's also very important, I have to put this in, that we all get vaccinated, because this is a very important thing. Because if you don't get vaccinated, you are a danger to yourself and your family and your friends and all of us around you, okay? But this election tonight is a very important election. So please remember, everyone who has enrolled into a new position, your presence in doing your part is very, very important for us to continue being Community Board 4. Okay? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McClellan. So now we will have another nomination committee member. Dustin Sonborn will read the slate. So the slate will be the individuals when they were called for each position who accepted. Dustin will also call for nominations from the floor. There will be calls 3 times as per Robert's Rules of Order, as per the bylaws for those nominations. Dustin, when you're ready.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Oh, sorry, that maybe is my feedback. All right, let's get started, I guess. Our first position is the chairperson, currently Robert Camacho, who we all know and love. I'm going to ask everybody, I think there were no other nominations submitted, and I'm going to see if anyone changed their mind, if there's any nominations from the floor. Please put it in the chat, or let us know, or let me know, or say it right now. That's me asking once. I'm going to ask again, any nominations from the floor for chairperson, currently Mr. Camacho? All right, going 3 times. Any nominations from the floor?
No.
All right. Well, as running unopposed, I think we can safely give it to Mr. Camacho again. Congratulations.
Thank you, and thank you, Dustin, and thank you, Mr. Camacho. Congrats. And just for the formality, we have to have, I believe, one of our secretaries need to cast the one vote. So I believe which one of our secretaries is here this evening? I believe Mr. Fitzgerald, the recording secretary, asked to be excused. Ms. Davis, as correspondence secretary, would you mind casting the one vote?
I cast one vote for Robert Camacho as chairperson of Community Board number 4.
Thank you. Woo. Congratulations. All right, moving along, Dustin.
All right, moving along for our second position, which is actually our first vice chairperson. Of the nominees, only our current first vice chairperson, Mr. Joshua Brown, has accepted his nomination. So he, at present, is running unopposed, but if anybody has a nomination from the floor, we'll take that now. All right, in case anyone didn't hear me, I'm going to ask a second time and maybe a third. If there's any nominations from the floor for first vice chairperson, please let us know. All right, I'm going to ask the third and final time. Any nominations from the floor, please let Celeste or myself or the board know. All right, I think it's safe to say that Mr. Brown is running unopposed again. If one of our secretaries will cast their vote, please, for Mr. Joshua Brown for first vice chairperson.
Alvina Davis, I cast one vote for first vice chair, Joshua Brown.
Congrats, Josh. All right.
Well deserved. All right. Wait, okay, hold on one sec. I'm losing my. All right. Moving on to our next nominee. That is, I messed up my screen. All right, second vice chairperson, currently Raul Rubio. All the other nominees have declined to run. Our nominees from our submitted nominees. But if anyone has a nomination from the floor for second vice chairperson, currently held by Mr. Rubio, please let us know.
Orlando, Jose Guzman.
Jose Guzman.
Make a motion.
Okay. Mr. Guzman, do you accept your nomination?
I'm second.
Oh.
Nominating him.
Oh, you're nominating for Josh, or excuse me, for Raul.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So would anyone like to nominate someone else to run against Raul? All right, going twice. Anyone to run against Mr. Rubio for our second vice chairperson? All right, I'm going to go third chance. If anyone has a nomination, please let us know. Otherwise, we will move on to our official vote for our unopposed candidate for second vice chairperson. Going once, going twice. All right, if one of our secretaries could please record a vote for Raul Rubio, our current and our only nominee for second vice chairperson.
Alvina Davis casts one vote for second vice chair, Raul Rubio.
Woo! Congrats, Raul.
Yay! Yay!
All right. I hope you all are ready for a curveball, because for recording secretary, we have two nominees. James Fitzgerald, our current recording secretary, I could do it. I know I had trouble last time. Asira?
Asire. Close.
Asaya. I did this last time too. Asaya, and I'm going to get it right next to it. All right. For James Fitzgerald and Asaya Polite, if there's any other nominations from the floor, please let us know. This is for recording secretary. All right, I'm going to ask a second time. Right now, we have 2 nominees for recording secretary. If anyone would like to nominate a third from the floor, please let us know. All right, third and final chance to nominate one more for recording secretary. All right, well, we have 2 nominees, so this is not the, our recording secretary is off the hook for this one. Everyone's going to have to vote. I hope you've all read the email from Celeste regarding the procedures for voting on the Google Sheet or by calling Ms. Cabrera. So let's go ahead and move on to the vote for James, recording secretary. Our 2 nominees are James Fitzgerald and Asaya Polite.
Not yet. We're gonna refrain from voting until we
Okay.
get through the rest of the slate. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, just get through the rest of the slate and then everybody can vote all at the same time.
Okay, great. All right, moving on to our financial secretary. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Celeste, I think we have to do it one at a time. You can't. I don't think we can vote on a slate. It would have to be place by place.
There's only one form, Mr. Camacho. We're doing the same thing we did last September. So we have to get through all of the nominations from the floor and then everyone will fill out their selections at the same time. I don't have individual forms for each position.
All right, sorry, thank you.
Thank you.
Last September, no.
And unmute herself. She wants to withdraw her nomination. Mute her.
Okay, hold on. That was a sire. Hold on one second. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, I didn't have my, I'm looking at several screens right now. I made you a panelist, Asire. You should be able to clear your sound now.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, perfect. I just was wanted to say that I want to decline the nomination for recording secretary.
Okay.
All right, I hope our other secretaries are still with us then, because now we have another one-horse race here. Recording secretary, James Fitzgerald. I'm going to do a 4th check if there's any nominations from the floor before we move on to having a secretary record this. All right, so again, just to let everybody know, our recording secretary position for the next term is, again, we only have one candidate, Mr. James Fitzgerald, our current recording secretary. If another secretary wants to cast a vote, please go ahead.
Alvina Davis, corresponding secretary, 1 vote for recording secretary James Fitzgerald.
Congrats to James.
Yeah.
All right, moving along to our next secretary position, our financial secretary. Of our 5 nominees, only one, Mr. Eliseo Ruiz, has accepted his nomination. So if anyone would like to nominate another financial secretary from the floor, please do so now. Our current financial secretary, Asaya Polite, has declined her nomination. So as it stands now, Mr. Ruiz, Eliseo Ruiz, is the only nominee. If going a second time, if anyone would like to make another nomination from the floor, please do so. All right, going a 3rd time, just to double check, financial secretary is shaping up to be another single candidate race with Mr. Eliseo Ruiz. If anyone would like to add a nominee from the floor, please do so. All right, for the position of financial secretary, if we could get one of our other secretaries to cast their vote for Mr. Eliseo Ruiz to be our next financial secretary.
Alvina Davis cast 1 vote for financial secretary Eliseo Ruiz.
Congrats, Eliseo.
Congratulations.
Thank you to everyone.
All right. Moving on to our next position is the treasurer position. Currently, Gardier Capart, who has accepted their renomination. Also nominated and accepted Jose Guzman and Eliseo Ruiz, who I believe is not eligible as the financial secretary. Is that correct, Celeste?
No longer eligible.
Okay, I'm gonna record that. So now we have two candidates for Community Board 4's treasurer. That is our current treasurer, Gardier Capart, as well as Jose Guzman. If anybody has a nomination from the floor, please let us know. Okay, I'm asking a second time for treasurer for our next term. If anyone would like to make a nomination from the floor, please do so now. All right, going a third time, just triple checking that there's no nominees for the floor or from the floor for Community Board 4 treasurer. Hold your votes or fill out your form, though we will not be recording them just yet. Our two candidates for Community Board 4 treasurer is our current treasurer, Gardier Capart, as well as Jose Guzman. All right. So we're going to move on to the correspondence secretary. She's currently Elvina Davis, who has accepted her nomination, as well as I believe Barbara Smith was nominated, but I never heard back about a accept or decline. So if Barbara, if you want to accept, please let us know. Or if anybody has a nomination from the floor, please let us know as well.
Nobody never notified me.
What's that?
Nobody never notified me that I was nominated.
Okay, sorry, I was the one to call. I left you a message, but I should have doubled down. So if you would like to be in the running for correspondence secretary. Sorry, what was that?
No, I decline.
Okay, all right. If there's any nominations from the floor for correspondence secretary, if someone could please let us know. All right, I'm going to ask a second time. Currently, Elvina Davis is our correspondence secretary, and she has accepted the nomination. If anybody would like to nominate someone to run against her, please let us know. All right, asking a third and final time for correspondence secretary. If anyone has a nomination from the floor, please let us know. All right, maybe probably one of our other secretaries, or I'm not up on our rules. Maybe our parliamentarian can fill us in. But if somebody can record a vote for correspondence secretary, Elvina Davis is our current correspondence secretary and the sole nominee.
So someone have to cast a vote. I cast a vote on that one vote, Alvina Davis for correspondence secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho, and congrats, Elvina.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Ms. Davis.
Okay, and for parliamentarian, our final, saving the best for last, our final race, so-called race of the night. I actually do not have a good reading on who our nominees are. I was unable to get in touch with Mr. Wright, our current parliamentarian. I don't know if he's on and able to formally accept his nomination, or if we have a nomination from the floor.
Board members, we have no nominees. We need a nomination from the floor.
I nominate Bob Smith.
I make a nomination. This is Jose Guzman. That is right to nominate him.
So a board member would have to be present to accept the nomination. If I'm incorrect, please let me know. And I believe Ms. Smith, you were nominated. Do you accept? Barbara?
I decline.
Okay, Barbara declines. We still need a nomination. And?
Guzman.
I nominate Ms. Spellin.
Ms. Spellin is actually ineligible, and let me remind everyone, because she's part of the nomination committee, just give me 1 second, I pulled up the form. Board members ineligible are Melissa Carrera, Barbara Jackson, Mary McCullen, Desmond Monroe, Gladys Julia, Justin Sonborn, and Annette Spellin, since they're members of the nomination committee.
Yeah, the ad hoc committee.
I believe I heard a nomination for Jose Guzman.
Yes, I did.
Okay, Jose, do you accept?
I accept.
Okay.
Can I nominate someone else?
Yes.
Absolutely.
What? Does anybody John Bennett? John, what's it, Bennett? I don't see her name.
We didn't hear. Ms. Jackson, who are you nominating?
You didn't hear me?
No, hon.
Joan Bennett, am I saying her name right?
Yeah, is it Cheryl Jones, Barbara, that you're trying to nominate?
The other one, the lady who always helps in the office, Joan Bennett.
Oh, Joanna Bennett, you mean?
Joanna Bennett, yeah. Is she here?
Joanna, do you accept the nomination?
What?
Joanna, you were nominated for parliamentarian. Do you accept?
Yes, I accept. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry that I'm in a meeting right now. I'm in a meeting.
Any other? Please mute if you're not speaking, board members. Just a reminder. All right, Dustin, back to you.
All right. We have a nominee from the floor, Ms. Joanna Bennett, for position of parliamentarian this coming term. If anyone would like to nominate another from the floor, please let us know, as well as any of the original people that were contacted. If they've changed their mind about declining and accepting, please let us know as well.
Mr. Chair, someone nominated her, she accepts, so someone would have to second her, wouldn't it?
Okay, and this is Virgie. I have a question.
Yes, Virgie.
With regards to Mr. Wright, has anyone contacted him? Because my understanding is that he's sick.
Yeah, we did reach out. I spoke to him briefly shortly after the last meeting just to check in. So I know he's recovering. He has been dealing with health challenges. I reached out again today. I did not hear from him. I also texted just to check in, reminded him that there was the election. I have not heard back. I believe Mr. Camacho reached out as well separately.
Yes, I did. I reached out, make sure he was all right. And when it says voicemail is full, and when it says voicemail, I try to get a hold of him, but he's I don't think he's working. I don't think he's.
Mr. Camacho?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
You can't nominate him if he's out sick. That's not fair. That's not even in the rules. But no, and you can't take him, you have to speak to them personally when it comes to an election.
But
That's my feeling too, Barbara. That's why I brought it up.
There is an election. They called them. They asked them. They said no, and he didn't respond. So, it's an election. We can't stop an election We understand that, but he could have voted that. He can't because I don't know, somebody. I can't answer for him, but there's an election.
Yeah, if you're unable to be present, you have to be present for the election, so you're automatically not eligible. So, you know, those are circumstances that we can't necessarily control, you know, so, you know, we tried to reach out to him, but we do have 2 nominations from the floor, both Jose Guzman and Joanna Bennett. Mr. Camacho is correct. They do need a second from the board. Is there a second from Jose Guzman? Nomination for parliamentarian.
Hi, Desmond Monroe, second.
Thank you, Desmond. Is there a second for Joanna Bennett?
Hi, Louisa Chan, second.
Thank you, Louisa.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. All right, so I think I'm up to the second call. If there's any more nominations from the floor for a parliamentarian, please let us know.
I'll first go. We have an 8.
What was that, Reverend Nates?
Yeah.
Did you nominate someone? I didn't hear the name.
No, myself.
Oh, you nominate. Okay. Is there a second for Reverend Apes as the parliamentarian?
I second.
All right. And who was that? I'm sorry. Can you say your name, whoever seconded?
Veronica Shell.
Got you. Thank you.
All right. All right. So now we're on our third call, and now we have 3 nominees. We have, I don't even have it written down here. Ms. Joanna Bennett, Jose Guzman, and Grace Ates are our 3 nominees for parliamentarian. If there is any more nominees from the floor, please let us know, or we will move to actually voting on something.
I nominate Mary McCullen.
Mary isn't eligible because she's part of the nomination committee.
Right.
Made the thought.
All right. Any more? I'm going to do a 4th call because we had a close brush at a 3rd. All right. I think we can move on to our voting for our leadership positions on the board. We have 2 to vote on, I believe, right? Which is the, which one was it? For treasurer?
Treasurer and parliamentary.
Treasurer and parliamentarian. So just to remind everyone, your candidates for treasurer are Gardier Capart, our current treasurer, as well as Jose Guzman. And for parliamentarian, we have, there we go. Jose Guzman, Joanna Bennett, or Reverend Grace Ates. So please fill it out.
And board members, just a reminder that there was a recommendation previously for each person that accepts a nomination to briefly speak on why they want that position. I defer to you if you would still like for each person to speak briefly, very briefly on why they want the position. I would suggest doing that now. Otherwise, we can move forward. I defer to the board. What would you like to do?
Move forward. Move forward.
Move forward is in keep going with the vote. Is there a second?
Desmond Monroe, I have an opinion on it only because certain positions over the year have been really, certain people have really taken it and moved with it. I'm not going to say any names, but I know that certain people have really taken their positions very seriously. And I want to make sure that we understand why we're voting for next people. Because certain people have really stepped up and have done the work. They've been there and dependable. So I would like to hear.
I second
that.
I second that too.
So moved.
So moved. So briefly, Gardier, if we can start with you if you want to share why you would like to be the next treasurer.
Sure, great. Good evening, everybody. My name is Gardier Capart. I'm the current treasurer. I just want to thank you all for the opportunity to serve over the last year plus. It's been a great experience just working with you all, members of the board, the executive board, just contributing my expertise to a wide range of things on the board, just working with Celeste and the rest of the teams in terms of just making decisions about the operations of the office and just guidance on how to navigate the city processes. It's been a great experience. I enjoy doing it. I love it, and I'm looking for the opportunity to continue to do that. And I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Jose?
Um,
Are you muted, Jose?
you guys hear me?
We can hear you now.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Jose Guzman. My only experience about accounting is being the chair of the Brooklyn Credit Union. I monitor their transaction, and I think the credit union is being great. The community board, the current board member is doing a great job. But if I can help, I will be glad to provide more support. Thank you.
And Jose, if you want to speak on for parliamentarian as well, since you were nominated for that position.
I accept the nomination.
Yes, if you just wanted to speak on a little bit about experience with being in a role similar to parliamentarian, or why you're interested in that position.
As a board member, I'm chair of a couple of board members, board volunteers, and I understand the parliamentary rules, and whatever I can do to help the community board four, I will be happy to help.
Thank you, Jose. Joina? Are you muted, Joina?
No, can you hear me now?
Can.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm sorry. I was a little surprised when Dustin Sonborn called me and said that I was nominated as top parliamentarian. I had thought that Odolph Wright had done a wonderful job, and I did not know that he was ill, and I thought he should have continued in the job. Once I learned this evening that there was no one else nominated, hello? I'm getting the back noise.
Go ahead, Joina.
Once I learned that he was ill, I just learned that this evening, then I decided to accept. I'm very glad to be a member of Community Board 4, and I would try to do a good job. That's the best that I can tell you.
Thank you. And Reverend Aites?
I had thought, you can hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I thought, that I would try to fill in that position because I do know a little bit about it. But I mean, if there's someone else, I'll leave that to the person.
Thank you, Reverend Aites. All right, so now is the time, board members. Thank you to all of our nominees. If you have yet to vote, this is the time to now fill out the form. I notice we already have 3 responses going up. You can see this on the shared screen. For the folks who are calling in, I'm going to read out this list of people don't all hang up at once, but you should have gotten the instructions to call Melissa Carrera. I gave you her number earlier. So Mary, if you'd like to go first, just disconnect from this call. You can call Melissa and then let her know, and she'll enter your information, and she'll let us know when you finish, so that way I can have the next person call her. Are we good to go?
Okay. Okay.
Excellent.
I'm trying to mark it here. I can't get it. It doesn't.
So yeah, only the 2 positions. 13 responses are in.
I can't click mine, Celeste. How do I?
I'm not sure, Mr. Camacho. You should be able to select either option and then submit at the bottom.
So I forget, is the nominating committee, are we allowed to vote, or are we supposed to abstain?
No, you can vote. No, you have to vote.
Yes. Every board member has to vote.
Have a vote.
So mine is not clicking either.
Yeah, hello. This is
neither mine.
I want to vote. You ready? I got to vote for 2 things.
Okay, so who are you voting for treasurer? Padilla, Capar, or Jose Guzman?
Guzman.
Melissa, just.
Melissa, you're on the phone.
Yeah, Melissa, mute yourself.
Jose Guzman, Joanna Bennett, or Reverend Grace H.
Oh.
Melissa, mute yourself. Okay, I think we're good. 19 responses in out of 33. There may be a few extra as board members joined us late.
I'm not voting parliamentarian, so don't count me.
Are you saying you're abstaining from voting, Barbara?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is Jose Guzman. For some reason, I'm not able to vote.
Celeste, I'm not able to vote either. It's not
So the
working.
form is not working for a few people. I have Barbara Jackson, I have Jose Guzman. I'm not sure exactly what's happening on your end, but we will see if we can. Give me one moment.
I can't mark it.
If I may, I will vote for.
I can't vote. This is Annette. I can't vote.
This is Jose Guzman. If I can record my vote, I will vote for parliamentarian for Joanne Bennett.
Okay.
All right, Celeste, can you hear me?
Yes, Melissa, I can hear you.
Okay, I just, Ms. McCullen just called in and Eliseo just called in as well. So I want to make sure that that's noted.
Thank you. And so we may need your help with a few more people, Melissa, but Freddie Fowler. Yep.
Me too. Gladys.
One at a time. If you want to call Melissa and you cannot vote, that's what we're going to do. Freddie Fowler, you're next.
Okay.
Just please remember to mute. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. We know that this is frustrating. Hopefully we will be in person during the next election so we don't have to deal with this again.
I can't vote.
So for whatever reason, I know someone said you may have an yep, this is edit form of the ballot because I'm the administrator. That's why. Yeah.
Let me see.
This is the only way I can view the responses. So we were told with another one of our forms that you may have to have a Gmail account in order to use it. I don't believe that this is always true. You should be able to access it regardless of what account you have.
Okay. No?
All right, so next up on the list to call Melissa, we have
Mr.
yes.
Fowler.
Go ahead.
Person.
He's good? Okay, Reverend Ates, if you want to call Melissa now. And then everyone else will follow. So for those that are listening in that can't access the form for whatever reason, you will be able to call Melissa. Just use the instructions in the form. You can also text if you are capable of texting. This was really just set up for the members calling in. We were not predicting there would be issues with the form. I apologize.
Celeste, who are we gonna text?
Melissa Carrera.
Okay.
Celeste?
Yes.
This is Carlotta. I don't have an email with a number in it.
The last email I sent today with the final reminder and tonight in all capital letters, you can see her number in that email. And I would just suggest for the board members that are capable of doing so, that are having the issues and are online, just text her. It'll be a little bit faster than calling.
I text you, Melissa.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. I'm on it.
Hello.
Yep, we are here. We're missing 6 more based on.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. Celeste, can I ask a question?
Please.
Celeste, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay. My question is, I don't remember if attendance was taken today. Do we have a quorum, and can we have an election without a quorum?
Yes, we did. We did the first roll call before this. 33 board members were present. That constitutes a quorum.
Okay, we had a quorum. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello there.
We're here.
You hear me? It's 7-8.
Yes.
You can hear me?
No, we can hear you. Yeah, you're back.
Okay. I just want you to know I have to leave you. My service starts at 8.
No problem. Thank you. Have a good meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Celeste, Robert,
Yes.
and all the board members, can I please be excused? I got an emergency.
Yes, of course. Thank you,
Do you need me
Eliseo.
do you need me to vote again on anything?
No.
Not for this. Not for this. There's a vote later, but if you have an emergency, go. We understand.
Thank you so much. I do apologize.
No problem. Hopos as well. All right. We're missing one response. There may be an extra. Is there someone else asking a question? I'm sorry.
You don't have 43. You have Barbara abstain. She didn't put hers.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Camacho, for the reminder. So if this satisfies the board, we have everyone's response in. I can share the results if the board says we are ready. Are we ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
The results now for treasurer with 87.1% of the vote, Gardier Caphart. Does the secretary have to cast the vote, or we good after this?
No, we good.
We good. Okay. Congratulations, Gardier. You are the treasurer for the next meeting year.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
Excellent. And for parliamentarian, we have a tie.
Ooh.
How do we deal with the tie?
The parliamentarian is supposed to do it.
Rank choice voting, I guess. Rank choice, right? No.
It's a tie. For parliamentarian.
I'm sorry, Celeste, is the form set up for us to vote again? I mean, because the one thing that we can do is each person can really tell us about what they can do as parliamentarian. I know there's a lot of policy, a lot of reading of the rules and being able to incorporate those rules. So I think we may need to we may need to hear them speak and then re-vote again if it's a tie.
You're gonna have a tie.
Yeah. So I don't have a form set up for another vote. I will just say that, but I will announce that it's between Jose Guzman and Joanna Bennett. I would suggest if we have to do this, we come back to the next, I don't know if we can do this, but if we come back to the next meeting, I can prepare the form again. Otherwise, it's just going to take more time that we don't have this evening. Unless, someone would like to.
If I may, this is Jose Guzman. I'm invested in Community Board 4. There is a lot of struggle going on in our community. And I believe Ms. Bennett has been doing a remarkable work as a parliamentarian. So I declined my nomination. So is it okay if we just move on?
So if Jose declines, that only leaves Joanna with the majority. If the board is okay,
Decline because no one knows there was an election called.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, Mr. Camacho? Barbara, we can't hear you. You sound muffled.
I said, wait for the next meeting to cover this. We could have next meeting and wait for Mr. Wright to come back.
It's very difficult to hear you, Barbara. I'm not sure what you're trying to say.
It sounded like she said the next meeting.
I said, do this and break the tie at the next meeting.
Right, that's what I suggested, but Jose just declined. So it would automatically go to Joanna if that's okay with the board. It's up to the board.
Suggested that, but you could have suggested maybe for the next meeting to see if Mr. Wright was going to come back.
So we have two options, folks. Jose has already declined. So if folks are okay with Joanna being the parliamentarian, then I just need a motion. If folks would, and Josh is asking from you, I can't share the form and see the attendees at the same time. Give me
Hi,
1 second,
Guzman.
folks.
Motion for, I'm sorry, I just forgot the last name. But I do for us to move forward with the nominee that we have.
Joanna Bennett.
Joanna Bennett, yes.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Hold
on, let me just make sure that everyone can speak. I know that some folks got bumped off. Give me 1 second.
It's not the way it works.
Yep, I have a few people here. Just bear with me 1 moment. I can't look at all the forms at the same time. All right, so there's a motion on the floor. So again, I will repeat once I have everybody in.
It was already second.
I know, but there were people that couldn't speak, Mr. Camacho, because they were in the attendee list, so I have to manually move them out. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Rubio
Rubio abstains.
I abstain.
Barbara abstains.
Virgie Jones abstains.
Virgie abstains.
And 2 people left.
Okay, so moved. We still have quorum. This motion is passed. Congratulations, Joanna. You are the next parliamentarians for the next meeting here, and that concludes our elections. Thank you, everyone. Woo. All right. So moving on with our meeting agenda, and I know it's already 8 o'clock, folks. We want to get you home. We know you're home. We want to get you finished with this meeting. So we will be brief this evening. We'll move on now with the chairperson's report. Mr. Camacho, you know what to do.
All right. Thank you guys for supporting me. It's a tough job, but I love my community and I love you guys. And I hope we can make it. It's getting rougher and rougher, so hopefully we'll all. On Thursday, April 22nd at 6 o'clock, I was in the Arts and Culture Committee, Technology. On Friday, the 23rd, round table with hate crime with Congresswoman Anita Velasquez, anti-Asian hate crime. On Monday, April 26th, at 6 o'clock, the Environmental Protection, Transportation and Sanitation and Park and Recreation. On Tuesday, the 27th at 6 p.m., CB4 House and Land Use Committee. April 28th at 9, a walkthrough of Garden. It was very good. We had good buildings are clean. We just have a little problem in regards to employment hiring. I guess we're gonna have to work on that. We spoke to elected officials in regard to that. On Wednesday, April 28th at 10 p.m., CB4, the DSC follow-up, affordable housing discussion. On Wednesday, the 28th, the same day at 6, 480 Knickerbocker, 83 Precinct Covert Street residents. We met with Barbara Smith, and they decreased some of the concerns that Covert Street was having. On Thursday, April 29th at 10, citywide hotel and fresh 2 text amendment. on Thursday the 29th at 3:30. Sources of income discrimination, divide of human rights. Thursday, April 29th, 7 p.m. The Brooklyn Borough North Inspector Moscow. On Monday the 3rd at 9 to 1, CO assignment, new interview. We did the new interview with all four of us. On May 23rd, we met, me and Celeste met, one with District 37 Councilwoman, meeting with Thelma Diaz. We spoke, Celeste will fill you in. On Tuesday, May 4th, at 4 p.m., the Brooklyn Borough Board. At that meeting was a City Grow Health Environment Program for Youth, NYC Department on Citywide Hotel Tax Amendment. They were on the agenda. On Wednesday, May 5th at 6 p.m., the Executive Board meeting. On Thursday the 6th, 5 p.m., Sanitation Work Group. On Friday, May 7th at 10 o'clock, the RAD. We had a meeting with the RAD and all the elected officials. On Tuesday, May 18th, from 11 to 12, Zoom meeting, the Bushwick Community Partners. Wednesday, the 19th at 9, RAD Sanitation. We did a walkthrough with RAD and Sanitation. They're planning to get a couple of more drop sites in some of the areas because, as you know, Hope Garden is scattered. They only have one designated area to drop off all the garbage. What they're doing now is sanitation. Now it's containerizing. They don't want to do no more drop off in corners. I remember housing used to drop off in certain areas. No more of that. It's going to be containerized. So they're trying to get a couple of more places on Hope Garden areas. Some of the parking would be eliminated because they would have to put those big cubic yard containers. Because as of now, they're carrying garbage from Palmetto, from Central, from all these other blocks, all the way down to where Manningham, between Wilson and Central. They're putting in that designated area there, and that's too much garbage for that one place. So they're gonna try to. It's gonna cost a lot of money, Rad, but hopefully they'll get it done. They're fighting for them to get it done. At 10 o'clock, I was at the clergy meeting, but I was also at the, so it was hard for me to, with both the sanitation and the clergy, but I let Bishop Clark know I was there. Today at 2 o'clock, I was at Halsey Square Park. Eric Adams was there in the park, and we, it's termed out. I thank them for being our borough president in Brooklyn, for helping us guide through some of these challenges that we had. I also let him know that whoever is the mayor, I don't care whoever it is, they need to come to Bushwick because there's a lot of issues that are going on, and we also want to push to the next mayor, whoever it is, the BCP plan, and we hope that if it is him, meaning there was no support, there was none with me, I spoke as the chair. If it is him, that he would consider that he knows what we've been through. So hopefully the next, even if we see the next one or I see whoever's running, I'm going to echo the same thing to them. And today is the full executive board. And that's the end of my report. Any questions, comments, concerns, issues? None? Thank you. Next, Celeste.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. Do I have permission to the board to add our elected official representatives as panelists to speed up their introductions and announcements later?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So I'm going to add you, if you can just remember the order I'm adding you so that way you can speak. I have Andres first. I'm making you a panelist. You'll be able to control your video and your sound. Next, I have Nan Blackshear as well. And if I've missed you, it's not intentional. Just please let me know in the chat. I have Jeanette. All right, so Andres, if you want to get us started, and I'll keep monitoring the attendee list. Name and contact info only.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Andres Aguirre. I'm here on behalf of the Assemblywoman Maritza Davila. We are located at 249 Wilson Avenue. We are taking appointments as of now. The phone number is 718-443-1205. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, Nan.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Nan Blackshear. I'm Community Affairs Director, standing in as backup for Marcus Harris. I am our office. I represent the office of Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams. Our address is 209 Geralman Street. We can be reached at 718-802-3700. And Borough Hall staff has begun to return. We're staggered only on 2 days a week. The rest of the days we work remotely. Thank you.
Jeanette.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jeanette Gonzalez Rivera, and I'm the Constituent Services Liaison for the Councilwoman Office, Dharma Diaz. And our office is located at 1945 Broadway. And the office is right now, we're serving the constituents over the phone and through emails.
Thank you. And we also have some
You're very welcome.
agency. Thank you. We have agency and CBO representatives. I'm just going to call you and I will unmute you for you to just share your name and contact information. Frank Fontana.
Hi. Hi, you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, it's Frank Fontana from the Department of Buildings, the Office of Community Engagement and Programming. I'm actually filling in for Damaris tonight for this meeting.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Noel Allen. You should be able to speak, Noel.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Hi, I'm Noel Elaine, and I'm the Artistic Director, co-founder of the Bushwick Star Theater. If you ever want to reach us, you can contact me at noel@thebushwickstar.org or call me at my number at 917-620-8546. Thanks.
Thank you. And if I've missed anyone, again, it's not intentional. Just please drop me a line in the chat and you will have an opportunity to speak again during announcements. Now I will move on to the 83rd Precinct report. We have our captain, Sanabria, with us this evening. You should be able to control your video and your sound.
Good evening, everyone. Oh.
Evening.
All right, good evening, everyone. Just a few announcements. First of all, as of this past Monday, I have been appointed as the commanding officer of the 83rd Precinct. So so I'll be your point person. Thank you, Camacho. I'll be your point person, and if you need anything, obviously reach out, and I'll be able to help you out. Definitely through emails best, as Celeste has been doing, and we'll move on from there. But thank you all for your support. Also, secondly, I was listening to Mr. Barbosa earlier in regards to fraud. We have seen an increase in fraud, in scams. What he was saying is accurate. The other day we had 3 people in a row line up in our precinct talking about scams that they were victims of. So please get that information out. Follow us on Twitter. We put out tips on how not to be scammed, and it's prevalent, it's worldwide, like he said, but we need to be aware, educated, so that we don't fall for those. And lastly, there has been a recent rash in shootings along Knickerbocker and Wilson, especially over by Halsey, Hancock, Weirfield. Just be aware that there has been a lot of shots fired over there. No one has been shot, but we are, except for Knickerbocker and Covert. That happened about a month or 2 months ago. But just be aware of it. If you hear anything, please reach out to the precinct. If you don't feel comfortable reaching out to the precinct, reach out to Camacho or Celeste, and they'll shoot me an email, and we can take it from there and in our investigation. So we want to get these illegal guns off the street, and we can only do that with your help. Any questions?
Yeah, I have one. Are we going to utilize more of the NCOs in some of those areas to be vigilant and make sure we can attack some of those problem zones? Not that, because I know when you hit an area, then they move on to somewhere else. So
Yeah.
how are we, or maybe you want to see if we can do something in regards to the presence over there, or the time frame that there aren't that maybe we can work on.
So the NCOs have been given free reign on when they can move their schedule around to tackle those issues throughout the neighborhoods. So before me, they were mostly on a late tour, but things happened throughout the day, so I gave them that freedom. So they are out there. They're staggered time-wise, but they're out there from Tuesday to Saturday. They're off Sundays and Mondays. So hopefully you all have their numbers. The Build a Block meetings are coming up. There's actually one on Thursday, Sector Adam. I don't know the address off the top of my head, but I know Barbara Smith knows it, as she's on. If she could put it in the chat, that'd be great. So just so that everyone could get to the Build a Block meetings and talk about their concerns, such as NCO schedules, such as presence. We're out there. We're trying to do the best that we can with the resources that we have. The budget has been cut, which has affected us. So, but we're doing as much as we can, as best as we can, knowing that we're trying to keep the Bushwick community safe. So
it's 1288 Hancock Street. Doors open at 4:30. The meeting is at 5. 1288 Hancock.
Thank you.
Captain, and that's Spelling, just for your information, the Covert crew has moved from Covert to the corner of Halsey and Wilson by the grocery store, especially the guy in the wheelchair. He and his crew have been there like 12 o'clock in the afternoon. They hang out until they see the radio cars, and then they disappear for a little while. But just as a point of information, that's their new location.
Yes, definitely. We are on that. They're moving as far as Moffett, down all the way to Moffett. Just like you said, we come around. We're doing directed patrols there because we know that there are issues on those corners, on Eldred and Covert. And as soon as we show up, they're moving to the next corner. I wish I could have cops there all day, every day, so that they're not around. But that's problematic. We can't. However, if you do see these people out there, call 911. Call us. Call 311. We'll get out there and be able to do what we have to do to get them off the streets, because they're not just hanging out. They're into illegal narcotics. So, but we also know that. But you should also know that narcotics are doing investigations in the area, and they are active in doing so. So just know that.
Last questions? If there are none, we will move on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Captain, and congratulations on being our new commanding officer for the 8-3.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Everyone.
Thank you, Deputy Inspector. No more captain.
All right.
So we will move on now to the district manager's report. I will forego my usual report. I know we are pressed for time this evening, and I want to give our committees ample time. I will just reiterate some important dates. Please register to vote by May 28th. apply for an absentee ballot by June 15th. You can vote early from June 12th to June 20th. And of course, election day is June 22nd. So please, please, please prepare. This is a very important election coming up. In general, Mr. Camacho and I, we attend many of the same meetings. There are others that he does not attend with me. This varies from committees. We had an important district service cabinet affordable housing discussion. Thank you to all of our elected official representatives who joined us. We discussed what the reality of affordable housing is in Bushwick. We say it all the time, but what does it really mean? We will be continuing that conversation. We did meet with the councilwoman, Dharma Diaz. It was a district consultation. We discussed the budget. We discuss pressing issues in the neighborhood. We do this with all of our elected officials throughout the year. And lastly, I will mention, I was invited to participate in MESA's Career Day event on May 6th. It was a great event, nice experience. There were at least 10 students that were on. I was able to speak a little bit about, how I got to be the district manager for the community board and a little bit about my career for those that are interested in public service. We still get many requests from different entities, whether they're businesses, organizations, other city offices for guidance. I schedule meetings and I follow up with them as it permits. The last two things that I'll mention, the board continues to have a historic preservation working group. If you're interested in landmarking or preservation, please let me know, as well as sanitation. We know that there are a lot of sanitation issues. We know that the problems got worse during the pandemic, and we are strategizing on how we can resolve them in the long term. So that concludes my report. If you want the full version, please take a look, and we will move on now if there are no questions. Going once, going twice. Okay, we will move on now to committee reports. As a reminder, committee chairpersons, please bullet points, what was at your meeting, if there were any important highlights, and then of course, anything else that we should know. And I have first housing and land use, and Guiney.
Hi, everyone. Our meeting was Tuesday, April 27th. We had two presentations. Neither one required a vote. We also did not have a quorum, so we would not have been able to vote. The first two presenters were Emily Kurtz and Maria Vieira of Riseborough. And the second presenters were Alexandra Patti Diaz and Angela Belicio from DCP, along with Andy Inglesby and Howard Levine from MTA. Emily Kurtz and Maria Vieira from Riseborough presented on the issue they're having at 420 Stockholm Street. Maybe you've heard of this. Basically, Riseborough entered into a limited liability agreement in 1999 and sold as is traditional, sold the affordable housing tax credits to Sun Insurance and AIG. Typically what happens is after 15 years, the not-for-profit partner takes over ownership. The whole agreement is for 30 years. Sun America and AIG have declined to allow that to happen. So it's become a legal case that is a really very worrisome precedent-setting issue. Sun is not wanting them to take ownership. And so Riseborough has sued, and they are, people are looking this, and Attorney General Letitia James has signed on as she filed an amicus brief. This is a potentially very large problem about the way affordable housing is funded. So all they asked from us was individual support from members of the community and potentially of the community board to sign on. There is a sort of petition. They really want to spread the word and let other people know that this is a problem, that if the entire way that affordable housing is financed in this country right now, which, a lot of people would quite sensibly take issue with, but it is what it is, we have an even bigger problem. So that was the first issue. So they have asked that, and we will share that link, or perhaps we can follow up tomorrow on that. The second issue was Alexandra Patti Diaz from DCP and presented zoning for accessibility. And that is a citywide, system-wide zoning text amendment proposal. Again, doesn't need a community board vote, but what it's all about is making MTA subway stations, and actually I believe LIRR as well, but we didn't talk about that because there's none in Bushwick, accessible. So the idea is that the MTA would be granted an easement for buildings on either side of a subway station from 50 feet. And that would mean that if somebody sells the building or does a big big renovation on the building, before they file their permits, they have to call MTA. And if MTA says, hey, maybe we can slot in an elevator, an escalator on your site, then they can work out a deal. And the idea is also, it has to be, it can't just be a tiny, somebody's house. Anything over 5,000 square feet within 50 square feet of the station, then the MTA would, or this zoning amendment would allow the owner of the building to add additional space in the same amount as was taken by the MTA entrance. So the whole idea is basically, can we make more, create more opportunities for accessible subway stations, which I know is an issue here. So again, this was not something that we had to vote on, but what we did ask is that they also present before the Transportation Committee, since it's had a lot of crossover on that. There was also some old business, 18 Beaver Street, the Ulmer Brewery, Board of Standards and Appeal application. Celeste updated on some conversations that she had had with Richard Barrick of the Brooklyn Borough President's Office. He made an interesting suggestion that maybe the owner could look for city tenants who would be commercial, so therefore they wouldn't necessarily have to convert to residential. Then the also other old business and update is that the racial impacts analysis study that we have updated the board on as a whole does appear to be going forward, is currently in negotiations at the city council, which is quite exciting, because that would mean that any major, very large project would have to look at who's going to get pushed out by any big rezoning, because this is something that we've all talked about in so many. And new business, we just talked about 21 Charles Place. There's potential senior housing. There's an application that's going to come before the board. So I know that's a lot of information for a super short amount of time. I'm going to add my email right into the chat right now. If anyone wants more information on any of these, reach out to Celeste, who can connect to me, or also me directly. The meeting notes are very long because it's pretty much a transcript of the meeting, but if someone wants the short version, please do call. So if there are any questions, happy to take them.
Going once, going twice. All right, we will move on now to environmental protection, transportation, sanitation, parks and rec. Louisa? Louisa, are you there? All right, I do not hear Louisa. She may have been disconnected. If that is the case, I apologize. And I will summarize the report in her place. We had two presentations for that meeting. One was Council Land Use Transportation Planner. Thank you to Councilmember Reynoso's office, also to Councilmember Diaz's office for helping us connect with Council Land Use. The committee is currently exploring a study of Bushwick Avenue, a traffic safety improvement study. This has been a long time request for the community board. DOT has not responded very quickly to this request, so we are working with Council Land Use to see if we can move the needle a little bit faster. And we also had sanitation, Department of Sanitation come in to speak on the changes that were recently announced. So for those that have been keeping up with the news, the mayor did announce the restoration of funding for sanitation services, going back to a 7-day collection schedule. There are other resources and services in that package that will be restored. They provided a really thorough overview I won't go into detail. They also spoke about services and programs from the agency that are relevant to Bushwick, including how folks, especially on commercial corridors, are able to adopt a basket, meaning a waste basket, to help the city better maintain them. That's just one example. For more information, I highly encourage everyone to read the report or to reach out for a copy. And if there are no questions, we will move on to the next committee. Going once, going twice. We now have Economic Development plus Permits and Licenses. Melissa?
Thank you, Celeste. Good evening, everyone.
One second. I just gotta say, I gotta leave. I'm sorry, I won't be around for the second roll call. Thank you guys all for participating in our elections. So,
thank you, Dustin.
Take care, everyone. I'll see you next month.
All right, I'll go again. Good evening, everyone. The Economic Development and Permits and Licenses Committee met on Tuesday, May 11th at 6 p.m. We had a quorum and we had a total of 5 applicants for their liquor license review. And the first applicant is Connie's, located at 428 Troutman Street. They are seeking a new full liquor license. They are a DJ venue space with live music, some patron dancing. They will have security. I want to name that. This is that big location that hasn't opened on Troutman Street, right across the street from the Rookery, right across the street from Lot 45. So this is already a very active street. I want to name that. There were some concerns around the hours. I will say that their hours requested are 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday, from 12 p.m. to 4 a.m. And then, we talked through with them about our stipulation of no sales of alcohol after 12 a.m. on Sundays, which is something we still need their confirmation on. Next, we have same owners for 430 Troutman Street. It's called the Standing Room. This would be the cafe that is right. There's 2 lots. So 428 and 430 are sharing some of that space. They're working as separate entities and separate establishments. This would be the cafe portion of their business. So a separate liquor license is being requested for this. Their intended operating hours are 7 days a week, Sunday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m., Friday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 a.m. And we still need to get the applicant's approval of being in compliance with no selling of alcohol after 12 a.m. on Sundays. We did raise a couple flags for them around outside noise and amplified sound at their courtyard. So we want to be mindful of our neighbors. We want to be respectful. We want to make sure that they are applying all of the same, requests and stipulations that we have requested from other establishments. Next, if you can mute yourself, please. Thank you. Next, we have BK Lobster Bushwick LLC, located at 1487 Broadway, seeking a new full liquor license. It's a family-owned, Black-owned lobster chain restaurant coming to Bushwick. The gentleman, Edward Williams, is a Brooklyn native. He has grown up here, looking to open up his first chain here in Bushwick, which is really great. It's a family-oriented seafood restaurant. Their intended hours are 6 days a week, Tuesday through Sunday. 6 days a week, Tuesday through Sunday, from 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. And they will update their license to reflect that Mondays are in fact closed. And they are in total compliance with no selling 12 a.m. I had an issue, 12 a.m. on Sundays. They also are providing intern and externship opportunities for the youth and have already been working with St. Nick's Alliance and CAMBA here in Brooklyn, which is really great. Next up, we have Black Seed Bagels, located at 379 Saddam Street. They're seeking a beer and wine license. They are a bagel and brewery restaurant. Apologies. Days a week, Monday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. And the establishment is in total compliance with no selling of alcohol after 12 a.m. on Sundays. Last, we have El Gran Tejano, located at 942 Flushing Avenue, seeking a new full liquor license. This is a new Tex-Mex restaurant coming to Bushwick. They are taking over the former Tilts Bar Arcade restaurant on that corner by the Knoll Street Park. And they are hoping to open up soon, get involved with schools in the neighborhood, and create some sort of fundraisers for local nonprofits with a specialty drink, which is really exciting. And their intended operating hours are 7 days a week, Sunday through Wednesday from 4 p.m. to 12 a.m., Thursday 4 p.m. to 1 a.m., Friday 4 p.m. to 2 a.m., and Saturday 12 p.m. to 2 a.m. And the establishment is in total compliance with no selling of alcohol after 12 a.m. on Sundays. And that sums up the liquor license applications. The committee did talk about the potential idea of helping create a platform for job listings in Bushwick and surrounding areas, especially thinking about economic development and job opportunities in our neighborhood, and ensuring that folks can access these job opportunities now that things are getting back to somewhat normal. We're hoping to be able to connect with a workforce group like St. Nick's and others to help support in building and divvying up capacity efforts. So more to come on that front. And that sums up my report. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you.
The only thing I want to add to Melissa's report is that the Lobster Shack is a franchise, and one of the things that there is part of their component is teaching other people how to open up franchises. So they're willing to run a workshop within the Bushwick community to teach them how to open up other franchises, not only with themselves, with that whole lobster coalition, but also other franchises. And that, I think, meets all of our points when it comes down to providing things for the community, but also providing education. So I'm really excited about that opening up there, because not only are they going to be serving great food that I don't eat because I'm vegan, but also they will be offering entrepreneurship opportunities to the community. So I just want to put that out there.
I don't need lobster neither, but I'll go over there and check them out.
Thank you both. It was a great meeting, and a quick shout out. Thank you, Desmond. Happy birthday. Thank you for spending your birthday with us this evening.
Happy birthday,
Desmond. Wow, you're getting old, bro.
Mr. Camacho.
I know, 42, but the skin still looks 25. So
I can tell.
You look blessed.
If there are no more questions or comments, going once, going twice, we'll move on to civic, public safety, religious. I believe Ms. Spellin had to go. She's excused from the second roll call. I will summarize. There was one presentation. It was informational. It was from the Freedom Youth Family Justice Center. So the Freedom Youth Family Justice Center is a nonprofit organization that fights to eradicate human trafficking and domestic violence. Their mission is to empower, strengthen, and stabilize victims and survivors of human trafficking and domestic violence by providing comprehensive support and services. For more information, please see the report. The committee also reviewed the plan for this year's Shape Up Bushwick event. All board members should have received the flyer. It will be on Thursday, June 3rd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. It is centered around a food distribution, a community food distribution for those that are in need. We know many of our families are struggling with not being able to access food for their families, for themselves. This will hopefully help bridge that gap. Others are welcome to table if they bring their own table. For more information, please let me know. Any questions for the Civic, Public Safety, Religious Committee? Going once, going twice. We will move on to Arts, Culture, Technology, and Zuma Novoa, the committee chairperson, has asked to be excused. I will also summarize There was similarly two informational items. One was the Josephine Herrick Project. They are an organization that teaches folks how to do photography. So they work with different groups at NYCHA, seniors, veterans, and they basically have cohorts. They partner with local community-based organizations. So we shared our list of CBOs in Bushwick. So they were excited about extending the opportunities to provide free photography classes to residents in Bushwick. We also had Noel Elaine from the Bushwick Star providing an update. We were also joined by his colleague, Lauren. They both shared the news from the Star. They are currently in the process of finding a new location. Hopefully they will have a permanent home base on Eldridge Street right off of Wyckoff. They will be building out that space for a little bit over a year. They'll be fundraising to make sure that they have the ability to do so. But they still continue to provide some programming to the neighborhood. They have ongoing partnerships with local schools. Some of you may remember the Green Theater productions. They also had a partnership with Roundtable Senior Center, although the funding for that program was lost. They still hope to retain that connection. And hopefully we'll get some good news as funding is restored and we recover economically in the city. There was a little bit of discussion about planning an event, some type of potentially virtual plus in-person event, doing photography in Bushwick. We are still having a conversation about it. Dustin Sonborn, a member of the committee, did bring up the previous idea for a time capsule event. So the committee will continue those conversations moving forward. If there are any questions or comments, going once, going twice. All right, we will move on.
Celeste, can you hear me?
Yes.
I just wanted to confirm that we did get the funding, after all, the SUCOT funding for Roundtable, so that will be happening happily.
Excellent, thank you. That was Noel from the Bushwick Star. So that's some great news for our seniors at Roundtable.
Got some money now.
That should be good news. I know Barbara also goes to Roundtable. Yeah. Excellent, excellent. We love it. So we will move on now after hearing that great news to our recommendations. And I believe we only have one committee with a recommendation this evening, and that's from permits and licenses, economic development plus permits and licenses.
I want to make a recommendation that we do a blanket vote for all those locations, unless someone has any information or any thing to amend or take away or add.
Okay. Mr. Camacho made a motion for a blanket vote. Is there a second?
I second that. Jose Guzman.
Okay, Jose Guzman second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved for a blanket vote. Melissa?
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. Yes, so the recommendations from the committee are as follows. For Connie's located at 428 Troutman Street, we move to approve the application as is with the intended sales of alcohol hours as stated in the committee meeting, which is Monday through Wednesday from 12 p.m. to 2 a.m., Thursday through Saturday, 12 p.m. to 4 a.m., Sunday through Monday, 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. Establish all of this if the applicant is willing to adhere to our compliance of no sales of alcohol after 12 a.m. on Sundays. The committee is also recommending that the establishment do some real neighborhood outreach and contact local nonprofits in the community, get to know their neighbors, get to know the work that the community board is doing. We did invite them to join us today. I'm not sure if they're here, but we do recommend for them to get involved and connect with Bushwick Ayuda Mutua as well. And also recommending that the establishment is willing to adhere to no amplified music outside. The second recommendation is for the standing room located at 430 Troutman Street. Move to approve the application as is with the intended sales of alcohol hours as stated in the committee meeting, Sunday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m., Friday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 a.m. And these hours will all seem pretty uniform. We try to be fair with everyone that comes to our committee. So I do want to start out with just naming that. We also asked that the establishment be in compliance with courtyard hours till 11 p.m. on their application. They currently have 12 a.m. We have asked everyone who has any outdoor to really be mindful of noise complaints and of their neighbors. We're also recommending for them to do the same thing, community outreach with local nonprofits and efforts in the neighborhood. The next recommendation is for the BK Lobster Bushwick LLC located at 1487 Broadway. The committee moves to approve the application as is with the operating hours of 6 days a week, Tuesday through Sunday from 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. And as long as they are in total compliance with no selling of alcohol after 12 a.m. on Sundays. Next up, we have a recommendation for Black Seed Bagels at 379 Sudam Street for a wine and beer license. We're moving to approve the application as is with the operating hours of 8 a.m. To 11 p.m. 7 days a week. And the establishment is in compliance with no selling of alcohol after 12 a.m. on Sundays. Doesn't really apply here, but we want to have that stated on paper. The owner is also committing to sending over some job postings when they do become available to the board's office, so we can share that out. Last, we have the recommendation for El Gran Tejano at 942 Flushing Avenue for a new full liquor license, and the committee is moving to approve this application with the operating hours of Sunday through Wednesday from 4 p.m. to 12 a.m., Thursday, 4 p.m. to 1 a.m., Friday, 4 p.m. to 2 a.m., and Saturday, 12 p.m. To 2 a.m. And the establishment is in total compliance with no selling of alcohol after 12 a.m. on Sundays. And Matthew, the owner, is also making a commitment of sending over job postings when they do become available, so we can also share that out. And that sums up the committee's recommendations. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Motion from the board? Oh, yes, go ahead. Question?
No,
Go ahead.
Gomez, I motion that we move forward with the committee's recommendations.
You already made a motion. Is there a second?
I second. HOA, second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? So moved. Thank you, everyone. Are there any other recommendations? Going once, going twice? All right, hearing none. We will move down to old business. Any old business? Going once, going twice? Hearing none. New business? Going once, going twice? Hearing none. We have our announcements. For those that are still on, I will go in order. I know our elected officials are still here, so I'll just go in order that I see you. Andres, any announcements?
No announcements tonight. Thank you.
Unless I have something. I
Go
don't know
ahead,
if it's an
Guzman.
announcement. So I know we're having, let me turn my camera on so I don't want to be rude. I know we have a election going on within our district, and I think we really need to look at the candidates. A lot of information has been given to me about spending, and I'm going to put this in the a link in the chat. You can look in the chat. These are all the spending accounts for all the people who are running for our district, who are taking over, or who want to go take Espinal's seat. What has come back to me is that if we are Bushwick Strong, we're talking about MWBEs and we're talking about economic development. Anyone who's running needs to honor those commitments. I will put it that way. I'm not putting out anyone's name, not putting anyone on blast. But if they have canvassers that are from Bushwick, if they have MWBE companies that are on Bushwick that are working on their campaign, they need to pay them. If they are not paying them, we need to understand is that if those are people that need to represent us. So make the decisions not only based on popularity, but how they are treating their staff, their vendors, and everything else, because that's indicative of how they're going to run in city council. that's been brought to my attention. I know personally people who are not being canvassers, who are not been paid, firms who have not been paid, and they're running for our district to sit in Espinal's old seat. So just take a look at the link from the CFB, look at people's spending and what they're spending on. Not only make your vote choice based on their popularity, but actually how they're handling their finances, because that's going to affect Bushwick immensely. And if they're not living up to their commitments during their campaign, they're not going to live up to their commitments once they're in office. That is just it. So keep that in mind before you cast your vote and put those people in that seat, because it's very disturbing that there are women-owned firms that haven't been paid. There are canvassers that are out there that are handing out flyers that you see all over for these candidates. They're not getting paid. That's not fair. And we need to make sure that there's no one sitting in that seat that can't honor their commitments now, because they won't honor them once they're in that seat. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. You're going to put something in the chat?
I did. I put it right there. I put the link to the CFB directly to the candidates that are in our area. You can see their spending. Click on their name. And what you need to do is you need to look on what they've spent and see if that's responsible spending. Some people have spent directly on their campaign. Some people have spent on other things. You need to make your decision based on how their finances are and what they're doing with their finances. That's how I'll leave it, because I don't want to influence anyone's vote.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements? I know we have our borough president's representative. I don't know, Nan, if you have an announcement. Or Jeanette.
Yes, this is Nan. Just congratulations to the new CB4 Executive Board, to Chair Camacho. I call him the father of Bushwick. So congratulations to you and the members of your Executive Board. Two, for those who are interested, the Borough President's Office is still finishing up the reappointment applications. Letters will be going out at the end of May. And so you should be receiving them sometime in June. If you have not received them, please feel free to reach out to our office and we will investigate or possibly email you the letter. And then finally, at the beginning, there was a lot of talk about ranked choice voting. Well, the borough president had a training not too long ago where CFB, the very organization that you have for yours, was doing the training. We have recorded it and put it on YouTube for you to view later, if you so choose, even though you could probably watch your own board meeting. And you can make comparisons just in case there were some questions that were asked at ours that weren't asked at yours. So I've put the link in the chat and feel free to take a look. And everybody, please have a wonderful and safe Memorial Day weekend. Thank you.
You too, Ms. Batsmith. We're going to miss you. Thank you for all your services, whoever comes in there, because I know when there's a new person, they come in. We love you and we know you did a wonderful job, and we like when you guys we know we toggle along each other, but it's all for good reasons, and we're gonna miss you. And I told the borough president that today, that we love him and we know what he did for us, and whoever's on there, we hope that if it's him or whoever's there, that they support Bushwick, because now it's hard times, and hopefully we can get good times with whoever's on there. So
thank you, Mr. Camacho.
All right. Jeanette, did you have any announcements?
No, ma'am.
Okay, no problem. All right. Any of our community-based organizations? No. I believe we had a few folks jump off.
Nice.
Yes.
Thanks so much, Celeste.
Excellent. Sammy, did you have something?
Yes.
This is on behalf. I hear echo. I'm sorry. Do you hear me well?
Yes, we do.
Great. Yeah, this is on behalf of Latinos Americanos Unidos. On June 11, we will be hosting alongside Amigos of Latinos Unidos Committee, Assemblywoman Maritza Davila, a benefit gala. So every year around the Puerto Rican parade, we will be hosting a benefit gala for a nonprofit in the community. And this June 11, this will be the first gala benefiting Latinos Unidos to help support their work that has been suffering through COVID and to support the work of food distribution, etc. So it's gonna be June 11, Friday. The parade is on Sunday 13, and people can call me, text me, or come at Latinos Unidos. Starting tomorrow, this weekend, we're gonna have the tickets for everyone. So thank you.
Excellent. And we have a business owner that's been patiently waiting. His name is Neil. Neil, if you're still there, I'm gonna unmute you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Hey, I'm Neil Seti. I've lived here all my life. Went to IS 383 right off Knickerbocker. I'm the controller at a tech company here in the city. I'm here with my mother, Mina, who's turned around a number of failing gas stations and opened a very successful fried chicken franchise in Louisville, Kentucky. Also here with our partner, Steven, who's been in the restaurant industry for the last 15 years and has been instrumental in opening a number of bars and restaurants, as well as curating many LGBTQ events across Brooklyn, bringing the community together. We're here to announce that we aim to open a minority family-owned and operated chai bar and weed lounge with the aim to invest and give back to this community, be one of the city's first businesses within the space. We have a unique opportunity at this moment on the other side of this pandemic to help revitalize commerce in this area, as well as flip the narrative on cannabis, which has been used as an excuse for the unjust discrimination of those in our communities, especially people of color. I myself have been targeted along with those close to me, which I'm sure is the case for many of you in attendance as well. The recent passing of the Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act allows us to create a positive space for folks to gather, and it's our belief that creating a safe and fun place for all to enjoy recreational and medicinal marijuana can be extremely beneficial to the community at large. We hope to be seeing you all around, and please feel free to reach out to us if this has inspired you and you're interested in speaking more. I'll share my contact information as well as my partners, and leave it at that.
Thank you. And last call for any comments, questions, announcements. All right. Thank you all. We'll move on now to our second roll call. And I know that there are a few requests for the link from Desmond. I'm going to just grab it really quick and drop it in the chat. Give me 1 second. Everyone should receive the link now.
Got it.
Okay, perfect.
Celeste, can you
Yeah.
can the previous person that just spoke give their information or phone number, website?
Sure. Yes, Neil, if you're still there, everyone would like your, well, Josh Brown is requesting your contact information. I know you mentioned you're going to drop it in the chat. Just make sure you click everyone. So that way,
okay.
Yeah, folks can.
I don't see everyone. I see all panelists, but I don't see everyone.
Okay, all panelists should suffice. So for anyone else that's interested, we'll make sure you get the information as well, and it'll of course be in the meeting minutes that will come out before next month's meeting. All right. If there's nothing else, we'll go ahead with the second roll call.
I think Barbara's saying something.
Okay.
So why he just can't say it?
What's that, Barbara?
Why he just can't give the address of his site?
Okay, I mean, we can ask, yeah. Do you have a location already, Neil?
No, we're currently negotiating a lease with a few landlords contingent on the permit coming through. You know, the Cannabis Control Board is still ironing out the details around regulations for permits for businesses in the space. So, you know, everything's still a bit up in the air. And we're not sure what the regulations are gonna look like. but fingers crossed that comes through in our favor. And we just wanted to start a dialogue with the community and let you guys know what we aim to do.
Thank you. And for those that are calling in, Neil, if you wouldn't mind just sharing your contact information, whatever you were going to drop in the chat.
Oh yeah. My email is my last name and my first name and the number 0@gmail.com. That's going to be SETHINEIL 0@gmail.com. I also shared a link to my LinkedIn. I don't know how it'll come across if I read it.
That
but
works. Thank you.
Thank you
very
I'll
much.
also share my partners and including my mother, who's going to be a partner on this, their information as well right now.
Go ahead, Mama.
Got it. And
Can
I know
you let my
Horace.
mother speak? She'd like to say hi to you all as well.
Oh, sure.
Hold on. I believe that's Mina.
Yes, that's Mina.
You should be able to speak now.
Stephen Berg as well, if he's still on.
Hi,
Hi, Mami. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
All right. So
Hi, everyone.
folks-
This is Steven.
All right, great. Thank you for joining us. So just for the sake of time, I want to make sure we also have the controller's office on as well. Harris, if you'd like to just briefly announce what you dropped in the chat.
Hey. Hi, everybody. Hope you could see me and hear me. Harris Khan, Community Liaison for the City Comptroller. You can reach me at hkhan@comptroller, comptroller.nyc.gov, or you can call me at 929-512-1946. We can help with any constituent services issues with agencies. If you're having a tough time with an agency, we have a constituent services arm. And happy to help and assist in any way possible. Also drop, I think for Brooklyn, very interesting. We did an audit. It was dropped on May 18th about the inadequate and inconsistent management of Brooklyn Estates and the Kings County Public Administrator's Office, and lays out the issues the audit team found and then a list of recommendations. As we always do in our office, when we find out an issue, identify it, we also make recommendations so that the people in positions of power can rectify. And if not, the public knows that they didn't and they had these solutions with them. So I'll drop that into the chat too, since it was specific to Brooklyn.
Thank you. All right. So seeing nothing else, please take a look at the chat, everyone. And for other information, please feel free to reach out to me. But we will move on now with the second roll call. I know everyone's eager to wrap up this evening. Please be ready, board members, in reverse order. Oldoff Wright, Carlotta Williams. Here. Jerry Valentine.
Present.
Annette Spell and Dustin Sonborn are excused. Barbara Smith. Bernadina Shell. Julio Salinas. Eliseo Ruiz was excused. Raul Rubio. Gladys Julia.
Here.
Got you. Aside Polite.
Present.
Zuma Novo is excused. Sammy Namir Olivares.
Aquí, presente.
Got you. Desmond Monroe. Mary McClellan.
Present, sorry, present.
Got you. Mary McClellan. Luisa Jose. Reggie Jones. Carol Jones.
Present.
Got you. Kristen Joss.
Present.
Barbara Jackson. Tanisha Honeygan. Jose Guzman. Present. Got you.
Present.
Natalia Gutierrez. Ann Guiney. Igati Gomez.
Present.
Freddie Fowler.
Here.
Got you. James Fitzgerald's excused. Elvina Davis.
Present.
Daniela Davi.
Present.
Andrew Choi.
Present.
Luisa Chan, Felix Ceballos,
Present.
Melissa Carrera,
Here.
Guardia Caphart,
Present.
Robert Camacho,
Presente.
Raul Brown, Joshua Brown, Joanna Bennett, and Reverend Grace Aids is excused. Is there a motion from the board to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I need a name. Just say your name.
Sorry. Motion to adjourn.
Barbara Jackson, motion, second.
Somebody second it.
Yes, someone second.
Okay, I
Just a
second.
name. That was Gardier. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Thank you, everyone. 9:09. Have a good night. We will see you.
Thank you. Take care.